A pair of sides looking for steps forward in 2022 kick off their campaigns in earnest today as Carlton hosts St Kilda in the second of the AFL's practice matches here at Icon Park. It's the first time Blues fans will see their side under youth coach Michael Voss, and the Saints are looking to build toward the new season after a frustratingly inconsistent 2021. Overcast skies here in Melbourne on a Thursday morning. It's great to have your company on KO Sports for this practice match ahead of season 2022. Joel Peterson with you, alongside former Docker and son and current Werribee VFL coach Michael Barlow. Mick, it's very good to be back at the footy.
Yeah, good morning, Joel. Thursday morning. What else would you rather be doing than down here at Icon Park, having a look at two sides, as you summed up in your preamble, inconsistent across last season. So 8 and 14 for the Blues, 10 and 12 for the Saints. Voss comes into charge of the Blues, so looking to see a different style with them. As we have a look at their team list, some new names as well. Adam Cerra is on that team list, of which we're really looking forward to watching. George Hewitt comes across from the Swans on a 4-year deal as well. Looking forward at some stage, not sure if it's the first or the second half, to get a look at the raw ruckman Alex Murkov there, number 45 on your screen.
Absolutely, the big volleyballer who of course came through their VFL program out of the VAFA after a couple of years, and the Saints, they were inconsistent last season. They get Jade Gresham back from a couple of long-term injuries, and a couple of players, including Josh Battle, who may be set for new positions this season. Yeah,
56 games, Josh Battle, so he's a player that's now cut his teeth at the level. He's been thrown around. His magnet has been everywhere on the board, in the ruck, on the wing, up forward, at half-back, and they're looking to settle him more across half-back. And similarly with Zach Williams, the big recruit from the Blues last year, and he had an inconsistent year. Yes, they tried to push him up through the midfield. There was some knocks on his fitness and his ability to cover the ground. They'll push him to half-back. He's lined up in the defensive 50 to start this one, which is great. That's where his bread's buttered, and let's see how he goes about it today.
So Long, Leonard and Hayes are named for the Saints, but just standing alongside the bench at the moment, all in the training tops. We might see them in the second half. Both of these teams have a VFL game after this as well, so a number of players from both sides named for their VFL squads. What are you looking forward to seeing? Is there anything in particular that stands out as we get set for the opening bounce?
Very much just looking forward to watching some football in the flesh. As we said, we can get a little bit carried away at this time of the year in terms of everyone's flying and everyone's running on top of the ground, but now time to put it a little bit into practice, and there's probably just over 1,000 fans, crusted on fans, and some construction workers over to the forward pocket, Royal Parade End, that have donned their Guernseys for the match as well. So a little bit of time off for Smoko. Looking forward to getting into it, Joel.
Absolutely, Mick. So the Blues and the Saints, two young, promising sides. Their fan bases will be looking for plenty and hopefully some improvement from them in season 2022. Players set at both ends, as Mick said.
They're set, but they've just gone a little bit early. So 9:59 on the clock. And the umpire has to wait for 10 o'clock.
That's just how keen they are to get into it this season.
Very organised.
It is pretty cool this morning, which would be good conditions for the players.
Yeah, 22, 23 overcast. Perfect turf here at Icon Park. It's a tremendous place to play football, and the reconstruction of the outer wing from our broadcast side should bring some hope that maybe there's some possibility of some AFL games, absolutely some AFLW games in the future.
So here we go, Carlton and Kilda to kick off their 2022 campaigns. Pitney and Campbell to do battle in the opening ruck, and Cerra around the ball for Carlton, which is such an exciting sight. Campbell might have had the better of it in the middle. Hewitt straight onto it for the Blues. A handball to Cripps, to Williams, who shows some dash off half-back and blasts it high inside the 50 towards Curnow. Wilkie hands to it, brings it down for the Saints. Some instant great pressure from Carlton. Silvani rewarded for the tackle. And isn't that a bright start for the Blues?
Bright start. So the two new names in the midfield there, George Hewitt, Adam Cerra, get involved. Zach Williams off half-back. They smack it in. A high ball, a chaos ball to 6-on-6 in front of the ball. And then Jack Silvani following up. That manic pressure inside forward 50. Easy to do early in the game, but he's done it. Now he's got to go back and finish his nice work.
Did a little bit of everything last year in his 15 games. Jack Silvani kicked 9 goals, 13 in front of the sticks to get Carlton on the board in season 2022. Silvani does it with ease. And in the opening minute, the applause is drawn from the fans in the Legend stands. Carlton with the first of the game.
And they've all got around him. They've come from everywhere. So, again, good amount of feeling here. The Blues have come to play. Michael Voss, first minute in charge. salutes with a goal. So a very nice start by Michael Voss with his new career here at Icon Park.
You'd have to be pleased with even just that opening clearance from Zach Williams, wouldn't you? Bursting off the half-back line, set for a position change this year, maybe to his more natural position, and that's a hell of a way to start.
Yeah, potentially last year they got caught up in the big money deal, and in he comes, and we've got to get more out of him than what what's expected. But put him back to half-back. That's where he plays his best football, and he's made an immediate impact.
From the restart, it's Jones for St Kilda. Kicks a high ball out toward the wing. O'Brien
here he is again.
Knocks it down, and here is Williams, who kicks a long ball up toward half forward, and it's dragged in well by Kemp, who's been thrown forward today. Played a couple of games as a defender last year for the Blues, the Echuca product. Drops it on the right boot, nurses it inside the 50. Up goes Owies, couldn't drag it in. Steele, shove Sturden across the boundary line, and we'll have it tossed in.
Sharp start. Zach Williams already the 2 possessions, so looking lean, looking fit. Now to put all of that hard work across a long summer into work.
That's what they'll all be looking to do in the opening stages here. Cripps eventually did the ruck after the ball bounced. Campbell turns rover. Higgins to Steele, now inside the defensive 50. Under pressure is Mason Wood, wrapped up. Umpire says, I'll have it.
Just inviting a bit of pressure there. The Saints under pressure, handball, and the Blues hot on their collar inside 50 forward pressure.
Yeah, Carlton have started well here. The urgency and the intensity is up right from the get-go for the Blues. Another stoppage inside the forward 50 for Carlton. Knocked down by Pittenay. Wood inside defensive 50. Handball back to Jones. Pushed as he kicked. Tumbles it out to Butler, whose handball goes back inside the arc for the Blues. Durden will get there. Soccers it off the ground. It might get through the lot. Battle keen to walk it across for a rush behind.
Charlie Curnow, Josh Battle. Nice matchup. Both very athletic in their makeup, so keep an eye on that one very closely.
Good task for Battle. We know Curnow offers so much promise, and Blues fans will be keen to see him back to his best this year. Webster to Ross inside the defensive 50 for the Saints. Ross looks aggressive. Lovely kick to Hill. They've opened it up here, St Kilda. Hill with the overlap run from Gresham. Looks inside the 50 and finds Higgins, who's sprinting back toward goal.
First look inside forward 50. And they may have a chance here. He's a little man, but he's got a nice punch in his kick. So right on his range.
It's the best of Bradley Hill as well, cutting it open through the middle. So Jack Higgins is going to tee it up for home. Sends it right to the line, and it's pulled in on the behind line. A good mark to Membry.
Yeah, poor checking by the Blues. Ended up Membry on Williams, which isn't the desired matchup when they have so much time to set up and get their matchups right. And essentially an uncontested mark for Membry.
Goes around the corner from the pocket, finishes nicely. And Membry's got St Kilda's first of this young season. Top 3 in the best and fairest last year, Tim Membry. Such a consistent performer and so important to that St Kilda forward line.
Jumps off the double legs, doesn't he? He's got that uncanny ability to get nice and high just off the 2-foot jump. So the changes start to get rung after the first goal, or the second goal. First goal within a minute to Jack Silvani. So Membry ties the scores up, and the interchanges are made in a flourish. Centre square contingent for the Blues. It's Cripps, it's Chera, it's Hewitt with Pitney. So the new look in there, very exciting for Blues fans. Adam Chera, the high draft pick from a number of years ago, spent a few years in the purple, now in the navy blue.
Just to add some real class to that on-ball brigade for the Blues. Just stands alone at the back of the stoppage behind Ray Chamberlain, who's going to lay it down in the middle. Blues by a point through 5 minutes here at Icon Park. Joel Peterson and Michael Barlow with you. As Cripps takes it away from the middle, handball to Chera, goes inside the 50, picked off by Battle. Sends it out toward the city side of the ground. Campbell was up, couldn't drag it in. Pitney, handball to O'Brien, darts the kick inside the arc, and Owies is on the end of it. A little bit further out than 45 from home for the Blues.
Durden and Owies, only pint-sized little forward pockets, but they've been busy very early in this one, buzzing around the forward 50. Pressure as the handball's given off.
O'Brien's going to load up from outside the arc, drives it toward the goal, misses it to the near side. Another behind for the Blues.
O'Brien's a player. He's been around a little while now. It's only early in his career, but long enough now to start to establish himself in the best 22 here at Carlton.
Delisted last year and picked up as a rookie by the Blues, the South Mildura product, former first-round pick out of the Bendigo Pioneers. Even in his under-18 footy, he's sort of battled to find that consistency within his game. And
it is a really good sign that you'd imagine that the best portion of their players they've put out in the first half of this one. There'll be some changes at half-time, but you'd imagine they've given their best players an opportunity early on.
Wiedering from the free kick inside the 50. There's Durden again. Handball cut off by Steele in close confines. Great to see Ben Patton out there. He's a great story for St Kilda. Broken leg in their intra-club match last year. Missed the whole season. Blues force the turnover. Kennedy to Nunes to Cripps. Handball inboard. Rumbles around. Hill takes it away for Newman. Ooh, nervous moment for Sinclair. Just got rid of it quickly and then grabbed Silvani high.
Well, did he or did he not? I'm interested in the replay here. So Ray's come in to insert himself nice and early on this one. The big shin pad for the makeshift ruckman for Jack Silvani. Could go back and kick 2 in the first 10 minutes. Sinclair, he handballed it to no one, and I think he was very stiff there. So, hey, umpires are blowing off some rust, players are blowing off some rust, but that's it's a howler early from Ray.
So Silvani kicked the first of the game in the opening minute. For his second here for the Blues. That's a lovely set shot. Umpire does no work at all, and Silvani's got 2 in the opening turn.
Yep. As mentioned, very stiff, very stiff. I may have got him around the forearm nearly to give you an indication of how not high it was. So Jack Silvani, all he can do is play to the whistle. The whistle went his way. He goes back and kick his second. So a very nice start for Jack, who, as alluded to, with the big shin pad, you'd expect to see him doing some makeshift ruck work, with Pitney carrying the burden. Murkov looking likely to take some part in the second half of this match.
So a couple for Jack Silvani, top 10 in the best and fairest last year. He's a big old shin pad that he's got on that right leg too. It's an absolute whopper. Looks like he's going to be under the lid at short leg. Marnus Labuschagne style.
So I'd imagine he'd have a little bit of weight in it and might detract from his kicking abilities, but not to be.
Gives him a bit of momentum. Here go the Blues again. This one's scrubbed forward by Philp inside the 50. Sinclair able to mop up for the Saints. Can't clear the danger area immediately. Battle across half-back to Crouch, to Wilkie. Jams it on the left boot up the outer side. Kennedy sits under it. Campbell over the top.
Third club. Tommy Campbell, well, not sure kicking's his strong point.
Went inboard, turned it over. Philp cut it off. Now Newman for the Blues inside the 50 to Owies, who's marked 49 metres out.
They seem intent on the short game at the moment. The Saints, the short handball, and then that short kick even by Tom Campbell brought them undone.
Owies to full forward, looking for Silvani again. It's fisted through for another rush score for the Blues. So promising signs for Carlton early. 9-point lead. 30-minute quarters in this game, so a flat 30 will play in each. Hill to Wilkie from the kick in. Now to King, up on the wing, presenting up strongly here. So promising for them last year was Max King. Kicks up the line to another player who showed plenty of promise in Cooper Sharman.
Had a huge last game of the year last season against the Dockers, didn't he? Kick 4 from memory.
Yep.
Mid-season draftee last year.
10 goals in 4 games to close the year as the Saints enter the 50, but Pitney drops in the hole.
That was the issue. King got the ball at half-back, goes long to Sharman, who's the hybrid forward at half-forward. Then they had no height in front of the ball, and the long kick was just plucked off.
Blues to the broadcast side through the run of Fisher. Now Williamson. He kicks to the wing. O'Brien's after this. Right there with him is Battle, who taps it across the line for a throw-in in front of the interchange gates.
A number of players playing out here today, a keen watch on in terms of a lot of hype and hysteria, especially around Carlton, who 8-14 last year, finished 13th. But the expectation is they rise and they go up. They bring in Chera, they bring in Hewitt, but the improvement absolutely has to come from the likes of Williamson, the likes of Will Setterfield, who had a handy year last year but can elevate again as we speak. He puts the ball inside forward 50.
Yeah, Curno's the target at full forward. Battle getting back there in defence for the Saints. Nice handball, found Webster. We know how lethal he is with that left boot, and he picks off Clark at half-back.
Interesting their build-up here. They've been intent on short, precise build-ups. This one looks like he'll have to punch it long down the line for the big boys
Silvani
who aren't there.
Carlton's, well, one of them fell over in memory out the back of the pack. It fell short of them all. In goes Burns for the Saints. Flicks the handball out wide. Steele, yeah, just keen to run it across the boundary. So impressive last season, Jack Steele led the way for the Saints as skipper. Keen to do so again in a solo sense this year, of course. Jaron Geary not co-captain. Jack Steele going it alone in leadership for the Saints as far as the captaincy is concerned. Free kick to Pitane out of the ruck right on halfway. Kicks to half forward. Curnow presents. 2 Saints across. Patton spikes it toward the boundary line and the Saints find touch at half back.
Saints playing a few games at the stoppage with their high half forwards. Jade Gresham, it's good to see him back playing football. He's come up to a couple of stoppages and tried to just spit forward and lose Adam Sard, his direct opponent. This time he just settles in the front half for them.
One who gives him a lot of X-factor, Gresham, after that Achilles tear last year, the back injury in 2020. Saints fans would be very keen to see him out there and offering his customary dash all around the ground. The Blues are able to lock it in their forward half. Silvani with 2 for Carlton. Membry with the goal for the Saints. Ball thrown back in. Setterfield again at the feet of the rucks. Jams the kick inside the forward 50. Presenting up was Kemp. Got clattered into as the ball hit the turf. Crouch is there for the Saints. Handball back to Battle. It clears the defensive 50. Kick towards Sard, who battles with Gresham. And Sard tries to wrestle Campbell to the ground. Good luck with that, Adam Sard. I think giving away a little bit too much weight and size.
A bit of a judo move there by Say. Tried to hook the leg up around Tom Campbell. Just couldn't hook it in there enough.
Tom Campbell's, I've been to this rodeo before, Adam. You're not going to bring me down. Sard has a little bit more luck trying to tackle Brad Crouch. Handball from Gresham inboard, swept it to Hill. Oh, Burns able to collect it. Eventually, Clark almost run down by Owies. Pressure forces the turnover. The former Sainty Nunes picks it up to Philp. Goes inside the 50. Kemp almost drags it in. Owies at their feet. Nice little knock on. Sockers it off the ground and just rolls it home. Great pressure from Carlton, forced the turnover in the middle of the ground, and Matt Owies, their 3rd leading goal kicker from last season, he's on the board, and Carlton have got 3.
It was sharp work, wasn't it? They just forced the ball forward, and as soon as the ball's going inside forward 50 now at the moment for Carlton, they are very dangerous one-on-one in terms of the ability just to put the ball to ground. Nothing's really been perfect in their build-up. They've had a free kick to Jack Silvani, which was a little bit lucky, and then a nice centre square clearance for their first goal, which landed in the hands of Silvani again. That one was just a scrap and claw and stay involved and stay active, and a fair bit of hunger about the front half at the moment of the Blues.
Good to see. Blues fans will be very happy with that. Owies, the former college basketballer at Hawaii. Calgary B rookie a couple of years ago. 15 goals last season. Might present as a real live wire inside forward 50. Silvani's gone into the ruck for Carlton, went diving after the football after he'd got a hand on it. Hill sockers it off the ground toward half forward for the Saints. Ricochets back into the middle. Kennedy dragged down Ross without it. No free kick. Owies takes it away for the Blues. Handball out to Fisher. Kicks to half forward. Curnow was in the race there with Joyce, and Joyce the better of the 2 on that occasion. Webster's kick knocked down by Charlie Curnow. Here's Fisher at left half forward for Carlton. Just blazes away inside the 50. Sets Philp a monumental task. Wilkie was up and brought it down for the Saints. Ross inside the defensive 50. Handball went missing. Hewitt picks up for Carlton. Now Kennedy. His kick smothered. Inside the 50 again. Philp dives after it once more. Crouch to Wilkie. Now to Patton, who curls it outside the back 50 for the Saints. A bouncing ball out toward the boundary line. And it'll be tossed back in. Carlton players.
Ambitious appeals for deliberate out.
Mitch McGovern was pretty keen on it. Now, he's another one who's set for a positional change this year, across half-back.
Yeah, behind the ball, obviously, with the departure of Liam Jones. The stocks in terms of key defensive posts are limited, so McGovern and Wiedering at the moment acting as their key posts. Very important player returning as well, Nick Newman, who missed a lot of football across last season.
Lethal kick is Newman, the former Swan. Here's another former Swan, Hewitt. Gave it away to O'Brien inside the 50. Curnow doesn't take the mark, but does the Saturday Night Fever John Travolta style slide with ball in hand. Got the handball away. kick inside the 50 for the Blues. Free kick paid.
I'll get another one.
And Callum Wilkie's got his head on his hands because Matt Kennedy's got a free kick for Carlton.
Nice hybrid option here. Matt Kennedy spends a fair bit of time up around the ball, but with the inclusion of Hewitt, the inclusion of Chera, that 50% forward, 50% midfield option may be the go for Matt Kennedy this season.
Kennedy goes around the body and curls it home. And the Blues here at Icon Park are out by 21.
Don't want to make big statements here, Joel, but what is it? 4-3-27. Jack Silvani's kicked 2, so he's on the way for the Coleman for season 2022. The Blues and the 1,000 fans that have rocked in today just about to witness them on the rise up. Top forward seems a certainty at the way they're playing at the moment. So the big calls are starting to get made. As I said pre-game, we don't want to make the big calls and get too carried away with things being February and the season's still 3 to 4 weeks away. But a very fast start. I've loved their work around the stoppage. So Carlton haven't been too precious with the football. What they've done around the stoppage is just forced it forward and given their forwards an opportunity. The aerial work of Curnow has been good. He hasn't taken any marks or a huge amount of marks, but what he's done is brought the ball to ground and brought the Mosquito fleet into operation early.
So no Mackay out there, of course, for Carlton today. Doherty underwent a really solid warm-up before the game. So did De Koning and Cunningham. Marchbank was out there too for the Blues. Jack Martin was there, so a number of their players not out there today, Carlton, and they're still making a pretty good fist of this early. Hewitt from the free kick in the middle. Handball off to Williams, drives a low kick inside the 50. Kennedy crashes out, skittles the pack. Clark will mop up for the Saints. Just got the kick to Gresham inside the defensive 50. St Kilda look to go through the middle of the ground once more. Handball flared out wide to Ross. On the bounce now for Sinclair. Had such a good season last year across half-back. Measures the kick nicely for Burns. The speedster's got it on the wing.
The build-up has been a little bit like this, hasn't it? Oh, gee whiz. I'll let you take over, Joel, because that's an absolutely putrid kick.
That's an absolute shank from Burns. Came just about off the instep and dribbled inside the centre square where it's forced into a stoppage.
At fair dinkum looked like it was the first time he'd ever touched a football. And
it's not what you need.
Hadn't figured out fully how to utilise it, needed the user manual for that one, but they give the ball back to them again.
Yeah, they do, and it's blasted forward inside the arc for the Blues. Read well off the hands by Kemp. Oh, Kennedy's in a paddock inside the forward 50. Handball back to Durden. Did he get grabbed high? Umpire said play on. Setterfield. Now Hewitt standing start on the 50. That's going to be mopped up by Wood at fullback for St Kilda, who's met heavily by Nunes. The two 32s crash into each other. And now Bradley Hill, who's going to be utilised off half-back for the Saints and try and get more of him into the game. And King slides in to take a good mark just behind the wing.
It's been the move, hasn't it? Brad Hill to half-back at times when their ball movement's been stagnant.
Jones now drives it to half forward for St Kilda. Membry was up in the pack, taken nicely off hands by Burns. And now it's hooked inside the forward 50 by Higgins, but Setterfield's back there for Carlton.
Now, I'm hoping that's a shank by Higgins because Gresham had made a really good pattern towards goal and all he needed was the 30-metre pass over the top to a vacant Gresham and tried to hook it back to the hot spot, which at times you consider, yes, the team play, but if you've got a free player standing there inside forward 50, just kick it to him.
So 10 minutes left in this opening term. Carlton by 21. Joel Peterson and Mick Barlow with you on KO Sports. Cripps off half-back. Cut off by Webster for the Saints. Handball inboard from Chera. It's picked off by Hill.
Interesting to watch here. What Carlton have done really well is manipulate the man on the mark rule. A lot of handball run from behind and even building up your speed and arcing out to your right. If Adam Chera does this here, just to give yourself that extra 5-6 metres.
That's exactly what he does, Mick. Low kick inside the 50. And no one can come up to meet it. Sharman steps it across. Plenty of fans in the Legends stand at the eastern end of the ground here at Icon Park this morning.
Must be shift workers or...
Either that or they've got the background on their Zoom meeting when they're sitting on the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Curnow takes it out of the ruck. Squaring kick off the end of his boot, found Durden, who's marked 40 out directly in front.
Just had no answers, have they, the Saints, in terms of this onslaught of inside 50 and clearance wins for the Blues. The game has been played in the front half, of which the crowd is sitting, so they've been put putting on a little bit of a show, the Blues.
Couple of games late last year for Corey Durden, and he finds another one for Carlton. 5 in the opening term here for the Blues at Icon Park.
He gets amongst the party, does Durden. So Silvani, Durden, Kennedy, all hitting the scoreboard, which is very exciting signs in terms of that front half mix. Curnow playing in the front half, hasn't scored a goal as yet, and he's the one all Blues fans are watching on with bated breath for him to get going. Like Zach Fisher's start to the game as well. What they've done with Zach Fisher is brought him up around the ball a little bit at stoppages as a midfielder, as a high forward, and just give them a little bit of zip, give them a little bit of a different dynamic. Hewitt, the bigger body. Patrick Cripps, clearly the bigger body. Adam Chera will add to the complement of the inside-outside mid, but Zach Fisher, very nippy, very sharp in space, very sharp in the contest. So little agility, little feet, getting out of trouble has been very good early.
Got a few tricks too in the bag, does Zach Fisher. Just brings that X factor in the middle of the ground. Sharman's gone in there for St Kilda. Just got the kick away to Jones. High ball inside the 50, and McDonald's across to pick that off. Second year at the Blues. Made an instant impact coming on as the sub in round 1 last year against Richmond. And back injury hampered his season. Kick into the centre of the ground. Knocked away by Jones to Higgins to King. Can he dribble one home for the Saints? Not quite.
It's all a little bit disjointed for the Saints at the moment, isn't it? So it's not panic stations at all. First quarter, trying to find their mojo a little bit. Intra-club hit out last year, so the first time to fully expose yourself against opposition, and they've just looked a little bit rushed with ball in hand, and the Carlton pressure's been elite, and here's that run from behind again to the perfect player.
Adam Sard led the competition in bounces last year. His dash is his trademark off the half-back line. Short kick found Setterfield, now to Cripps as Sard came wheeling past, calling for the footy. Cripps inside the defensive 50. Kick missed the target. McGovern able to go back and find the ball, and now to Nunes. Former Saint, picked up by the Blues as a delisted free agent a couple of years ago. Now to Fisher. Carlton again look to build up down this broadcast side. Fisher's got a presentation from Silvani at half forward. Goes a bit deeper than that. 2 Saints there, including Membry, who rises to pull in a defensive mark this time, Tim Membry.
He's gone behind the ball, Tim Membry, just to settle him down a little bit as Tom Campbell comes onto the ground. He's going to the front half for the Saints.
30-minute quarter, so 6 left in this opening term. Membry kicks down the line. Campbell and King both present up and end up spoiling one another. Wiedering in there for a bit of help for the Blues.
Yeah, so Tim Membry, who just cleared that kick. He's sitting spare behind the ball at the moment as the 7th defender for the Saints, just to take some air out of this Carlton offence.
Free kick going to come in the ruck contest here. And the winner of the wrestling match was Pitney. Or maybe if you win the wrestling match, you give away the free kick.
Yeah, exactly.
At
this level, yeah.
Pitney, handball to Sard. Sard now to Williamson. Nice kick, measures it well for Cripps, who extends and marks at half forward for Carlton.
Run from behind again.
Yes, they're looking for it every time, aren't they? That handball overlap. The skipper directs some traffic. Sends it inside the 50. Kemp will get a run at this, and there's Tim Membry.
There's the +1 behind the ball, just sitting in the way. So that run from behind, if they had given it to an Adam Sard, who could have run that extra 5 to 10 metres and punched on at a different angle or over the head of Tim Membry, would have been perfect. But the Saints' ability to repel the efforts of Carlton there was great.
I know that Membry, where he reads it so well inside the 50, clearly translates at the other end of the ground too.
It'll be interesting to see what Carlton do here, whether they're letting him just sit there all on his own, but they have surrounded him with 3 forwards. Curnow and Silvani are a pair that have surrounded him with another blue to make sure that he doesn't have an easy run and jump at it.
Nunes skies it inside the 50 from the stoppage. Standing under it is Dan McKenzie.
Just no pop when they get the ball back at the moment from the white shirts of the Saints.
Just don't look to have the options that Carlton do. Sinclair, second in the best and fairest last year for the Saints. He looks to the outer side wing. McDonald got in there to break it up, gave away a free. It'll go the way of Mason Wood, the former Roo. Again, it's stagnant in front of the ball. Low kick now to Butler. Just in front of the wing for the Saints. Handball off to McKenzie. Long kick inside the 50. Gets over the back of King, who race is on into the pocket. Campbell goes off the ground, throws a boot at it and rolls it home. The big fella with the soccer skills to make it work, and the Saints have got their second.
Well, no one else could do it. No one else could use the Sherrin the way it's meant to be used. So Tom Campbell, 3 clubs. He's been around the traps. It's not the ruckman's job to get forward and figure out how to put it through the big sticks, but he's gone and done it. So the ability of the big man to hit the scoreboard, very important, because this game was getting out of hand in terms of scoreboard. They won't be too deterred by the scoreboard, but 20 points down, Q1, not a lot's gone right for the Saints, and a lot of it centres around the effort and the attitude, from the optics of the situation. The blue jumpers are swarming the ball, they're joining in, they're getting a hand in. The pressure is elite, whereas the Saints, it's nearly like, it's a reprieve when they get the ball and they can just stop and take a deep breath. So need to bring some more energy, and what they've done is put Jack Higgins in to the centre bounce to give them some zip and some spark around the ball.
A little bit of buzz in there for the Saints. Maybe that can get them going. 20 points the margin. Ray Chamberlain takes his time before he lays it down into the turf here at Icon Park, and Pitterday is just going to waltz out of the stoppage. Kicks to full forward, Kemp in the pack. Wilkie brings it to ground for St Kilda. Stolen by Chera at full forward. Handball to Curnow, dragged down. Sinclair comes up with it for the Saints. Nicely guided kick across the defensive goal face from Wilkie, finds Membry.
Credit where credit's due there. The tackle from Battle was a really good one, and it lingered a little bit, but the Carlton player did exaggerate it, and the free kick could have easily been called, but didn't fall for the trap, and play on was the call, and the Saints get out of trouble.
Battle's been pretty handy in the opening term.
He has. He's been under siege, and he's had Charlie Curnow, and he's put him relatively to bed nicely and pulled up the sheets, kept him scoreless, but the Blues around him getting very, very busy.
Free kick on the outer wing here going to McGovern. So Mitch McGovern in his 4th season at the Blues. He's going to whip it across the centre corridor into the centre circles looking for Williamson, got charged down. And a free kick will go against Hunter Clark for the Saints, who saw in the centre circles.
That's an insult to injury, really.
Long kick
literally.
From Williamson inside the 50, and Clark, of course, had that broken jaw last year and missed so much of the season. Just wants a clean run at it, no doubt. Chera for the Blues. Exchanges the hand pass with Durden. High inside the forward 50. Silvani in the pack. Cripps at the feet. 40 out from the Carlton goal. Handball through the traffic. McKenzie's handball looking for some help inside the defensive 50. Ross hacks it off the ground for St Kilda. But it's Carlton numbers will be first there. Kennedy. Handball along the boundary line with McDonald. And it's out in front of the fans in the Legends stand. He tossed back in. Carlton pressure without the footy's been good here in this opening term. Maybe a chance for a late score in this first term. McKenzie whacks it forward for the Saints through the hands of McGovern. Nervous moment as he tries to collect the ball. Higgins gets in there to disrupt things. Billings crashes through for St Kilda as well. Spills to Sard in the centre. To Setterfield. Now to the run of Lockie O'Brien. He pokes it toward half forward for Durden, who's going to have to go very, very quickly indeed over the head of Silvani. And the mark taken by Webster.
Remarkable, really. There was 4 open blue jumpers inside forward 50. He's managed to pick out the one white Saint, but in terms of, yes, it's a skill error, and I'd put that right to the back of the mind. The ball movement by the Blues is terrific. They're changing the angles of the ball, their overlap run, they're just hitting the easy options. So a really good shift in the Blues game style early into this season.
Promising opening from Carlton. Got the first of the game through Silvani. He added another in that opening term. And as Michael Barlow told you, the way the Blues moved the footy was full of flash, it was full of dash, it was quick. And it was very encouraging for Blues fans at quarter time. Here at Icon Park, this second practice match of the 2022 AFL season at quarter time. It is Carlton 5-3-33 to St Kilda 2-1-13. We'll be back in a moment here on KO Sports. inside the 50 towards Curnow. Wilkie hands to it, brings it down for the Saints. Some instant great pressure from Carlton. Sylvain in front of the sticks to get Carlton on the board in season 2022. Silvani does it with ease. And in the opening minute, the applause is drawn from the fans in the Legend stands. Carlton with the first of the game.
And they've all got around him. They've come from everywhere.
Campbell turns Rover. Higgins to Steele, now inside the defensive 50. The first of the game in the opening minute. For his second here for the Blues. That's a lovely set shot. Umpire does no work at all, and Silvani's got two. Burns able to collect it. Eventually, Clark almost run down by Owies. Pressure forces the turnover. The former Sainty Nunes picks it up to Philp. Goes inside the 50. Kemp almost drags it in. Owies at their feet. Nice little knock on. Sockers it off the ground and just rolls it home. The Saturday Night Fever, John Travolta style slide with ball in hand. Got the handball away. Kick inside the 50 for the Blues. Free kick paid.
I'll get another one.
And Callum
option may be the go for Matt Kennedy this season.
Kennedy goes around the body and curls it home. And the Blues here at Icon Park are out by 21. Either that or they've got the background on their Zoom meeting when they're sitting on the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Curnow takes it out of the ruck. Squaring Blues. Couple of games late last year for Corey Durden, and he finds another one for Carlton. 5 in the opening two. He's going to whip it across the centre corridor into the centre circles looking for Williamson. He's going to whip it across the centre corridor into the centre circles looking for Williamson. Got charged. Inside the 50 towards Curnow. Wilkie hands to it, brings it down for the Saints. Some instant great pressure from Carlton. Sylvain in front of the sticks to get Carlton on the board in season 2022. Silvani does it with ease. And in the opening minute, the applause is drawn from the fans in the Legend stands. Carlton with the first of the game.
And they've all got around him. They've come from everywhere.
Campbell turns Rover. Higgins to Steele, now inside the defensive 50. The first of the game in the opening minute. For his second here for the Blues. That's a lovely set shot. Umpire does no work at all, and Silvani's got two. Burns able to collect it. Eventually, Clark almost run down by Owies. Pressure forces the turnover. The former Sainty Nunes picks it up to Philp. Goes inside the 50. Kemp almost drags it in. Owies at their feet. Nice little knock on. Sockers it off the ground and just rolls it home. The Saturday Night Fever, John Travolta style slide with ball in hand. Got the handball away. Kick inside the 50 for the Blues. Free kick paid.
I'll get another one.
And Callum
option may be the go for Matt Kennedy this season. Kennedy
goes around the body and curls it home. And the Blues here at Icon Park are out by 21. Either that or they've got the background on their Zoom meeting when they're sitting on the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Curnow takes it out of the ruck. Squaring Blues. Couple of games late last year for Corey Durden, and he finds another one for Carlton. 5 in the opening two. He's going to whip it across the centre corridor into the centre circles looking for Williamson. He's going to whip it across the centre corridor into the centre circles looking for Williamson. Got charged. Quarter time here at Icon Park in this second AFL 2022 practice match, and Carlton with a hot start. 5-3-33 to the Saints, 2-1-13. Jack Silvani with 2 goals in the opening term for the Blues. Kennedy, Durden and Owies with the others, and Tim Membry and the big fella, Tom Campbell, going off the ground to get the Saints 2 goals. Joel Peterson alongside Mick Barlow. Mick, the opening term, the Blues started very well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was all about contest and clearance for mine. The Blues won the contest, and in terms of winning the contest, didn't mean in particular they won every 50-50. When they didn't win a 50-50, it was tackle, it was chase, it was pressure, and the ball would spill free, and then they would get the ball and put the ball into their front half, and they dominated the clearance and gave their forwards a real opportunity. So the Saints will have to really tidy up their work around the ball.
Got a little bit of work to do, have the Saints here in this second term and going forward. Again, it's Piternay and Campbell in ruck, and Piternay gives it down to Cripps, who handballs back to the ruck, now to Chera and now to Williams. Really, as they started the first term,
That's
Carlton.
He bangs off the back of the square, which it's a free run-up, it's a speed race. So Carlton's ability to find the ball, get first hands, Patrick Cripps, George Hewitt, etc., and feed off. They know it's coming, so a really nice little set play there for the Blues.
Didn't quite work for them that time as Patton cut it off out wide to Battle. They're going to get another chance here, Carlton, because Piternay got blocked out of the marking contest. And the former Hawk kicks up the line looking for Silvani. Wilkie with him every step of the way to knock it over in front of the construction site. Couple of workers over there, as you noted earlier, Mick, were watching on.
Yeah, it's a limited day of productivity.
I reckon the bloke in the forward pocket with the Carlton jumper on isn't doing a hell of a lot. Just quietly.
Footy colours day there at the the company.
Absolutely, as part of the big redevelopment here at Icon Park. Free kick at the stoppage, and it's going to be Fisher for the Blues.
Yes, they've been winning the free kick count quite dramatically, but that's just the ability of the old school. Get to the ball first, go in harder, get the rewards.
Bit of pressure on the kick, sends it high inside the arc to the pocket. Sinclair for the Saints hacks it back the other way. Piternay will stand under this. Wood came over the top with a big fly. Couldn't pull it in. Higgins applying his customary pressure in there for the Saints. Just forces the football loose eventually. Hacked forward by Butler. But it's going to come back the other way. Kennedy for Carlton in the centre of the ground. Rolls around, sends it inside the 50. Kemp almost pulled it in. He's presented up strongly a couple of times for Carlton. Now off half-back, free kick going to the Saints. Sinclair wanted to take the advantage. It won't be paid.
He was a player camp out of Vic Country under 18s. A couple of years ago at that level, he was a man before the rest of the boys in that squad were men, and that can carry in pretty quickly to AFL level. Notable that he missed a year with an ACL, but got a few opportunities last year and starting to show some real glimpses today.
Played mostly as an inside mid with the Bendigo Pioneers in the under-18 competition, and then got used as a defender last year for Carlton, and as a forward today.
Interestingly, that underage stuff, he was bigger and stronger, and maybe it was a false economy around that period, whilst you're bigger and stronger at that age, and then he has to develop at this level, either ahead or behind the ball. So a bit of versatility, but a player that I think Carlton fans should be very excited for the next decade.
Excited about this man as well. Patrick Cripps with a little step, flicks the handball on over the top to Silvani. They work themselves into some trouble eventually, the Blues. Patton comes bursting off half-back for the Saints, kicks up the line. Higgins pulls it in front of Wiedering. No mean feat with the best and fairest of the Blues bearing down upon you. Long ball from Higgins up toward half-forward. King the target. Chera reads it nicely off the hands. Combines with Williams. Sends it inside the defensive 50 to Boyd. Kick cut off by Wood. And Mason Wood will have a shot here for the Saints. Nervous moment for Jordan Boyd in Blues colours.
The boy from Spotswood, Footscray VFL, so getting an opportunity today. So that was the only way we would anticipate the Saints getting an opportunity. They've carried that first quarter lacklustre covering of the ground and commitment to the contest into the second quarter. So an errant kick by Boyd. So Wood, usually a good user. Can he go make them pay?
7-2 from his 9 games last season, and that's a lovely set shot from Mason Wood. Lays into it, puts it through, and the Saints get the first of the second term.
It's a beautiful game, isn't it? It's a game that you can take no luxuries in terms of how you're going. You might think you're going beautifully, as the Blues did, and even in that passage of play, they got the ball back, they started to build it nicely. It's been working for them across the first quarter and early stages of this second quarter, and don't like turning the ball over in any part of the ground, but 45 little kick, which just had a little bit too much leverage on it, and nice anticipation by Mason Wood, and that brings it back within 14 points. And they have no right really to be within 3 goals the way the match is panning out, but they've taken their opportunities and they've just started to neutralise the contest. What is really worrying me for the Saints is when they get the ball at halfway and they turn around, there's no options ahead of the ball. It's a little bit of a foot race back in, so they're expending a lot of energy getting back to support their defence and are losing their forward structure in front of the ball.
Lots of Mick Barlow with you on KO Sports this Thursday morning at Icon Park. Saints within 14. They rumble it defensively to try and move it forward here. Sinclair off half back to Ross. Ross to the run of Jones. Kick smothered by Fisher. Nice pressure from the Blues. Handball from Durden. Tried to work it defensively. It's picked off by Butler. Pokes it inside the 50 to Membry, who was prolific at both ends in the opening term. He's back in his natural habitat inside the 50 here.
Yeah, he was the Mr. Fix-It first quarter in terms of getting involved on the scoreboard up front. And then when the Seas were opening up the other end, they said, go back and stand in the hole, son. He did that well. So he's been one of St Kilda's better performers so far today.
Knows had his goal-kicking woes over time, but the last couple of years he's really straightened up in front of the big sticks. 34 goals, 26 last year. Top 3 in the best and fairest for the Saints. Such an important contributor for them. He lays into this. It's out to the right. Just has the carry. And through for a rush behind to narrow the gap to 13. Better start from the Saints here in this second term. Taken them a little while to get going. Fisher inside the defensive 50 for the Blues. Out toward Cripps. Through his hands, but he was held onto by Hill, who was giving away a fair bit of size. Cripps on the right boot, looks for Charlie Curnow. Comes up and meets the footy.
Really good awareness by Cripps. He looked ahead, had a few short options, but what he liked was Curnow on Ross, liked the mismatch and gave him an opportunity, and he run and jump at the ball. Nice mark.
Another opportunity for Boyd. Almost got run down by Higgins coming from behind. Off to Williams. Williams inside the 50. Owies was up, couldn't take it with him. Fisher, handball to Silvani, 2 goals in that opening term to Kennedy, and it's slapped over the line by Clark, who smothers it with some force.
Just turning the needle of momentum a little bit, the Saints. They're starting to neutralise some contests. They've tidied up on that man on the mark. Manipulation by the Blues, run from behind. We haven't seen as many handball receives off the back of a set play in this quarter.
Steele had Hewitt draped on him as he accepted the tap there from Campbell. There's no chance of him getting out of that tackle. No, Hewitt's such a strong defensive midfield presence for the Swans over so many years, and bringing that exact same thing to Carlton this season. Fisher's tackled by Crouch and Clark. Spills inside the forward 50 for the Saints. Hewitt's there, tackled by Ross. Owies is in there to disrupt. It spills to Durden, has a snap, leaves it narrow, and the first score of the second term for the Blues is a minor one.
Kept it very, very skinny. Again, good umpiring. There's been a couple of opportunities in this match where players have just milked a little bit more out of the actual situation than what was there, and the umpires called play on. So nice start by the men in green.
Here's Membry up on halfway.
Very important to be complimentary of the umpires, Joel.
Well, you gave him a bit of a slap really early, so you're working back into it
I'm
nicely.
I'm working my way back, but yeah, Ray just needs to have a look at that one and go to the review tape from Q1.
That's all right. There's always things to review.
That's it.
In round one.
I don't think anyone's ever played or umpired the perfect game.
Nope. Not at all. And if you have, good luck to you. Maybe a pointer or two would be nice. Carlton by 14 points. Overcast, cool morning here at Icon Park. Curnow's up to meet the footy, tried to slap it on intelligently to Durden. Eventually Nunes, a handball away to Philp, and now the Charlie Curnow with a bounce. Handball off to Kennedy, open 50, gets to 45, eyes the sticks, misses. They really opened it up there, the Blues.
Tell you what, Philp has absolutely torched Fisher, running past Zach Fisher. I'd imagine he's a player on the whiteboard of Michael Voss that says, if he's free in space, give him the ball. Philp disregarded that completely, as he would have run into about 30, 25 and put the lights out on that one.
Saints quickly going back the other way here. Wood up toward half forward. King overran it. Spilt to Gresham. Gresham around the body inside the forward 50. Sards across to thump it away, and that draws the applause from the Blues fans in the Legends stand.
It's pretty good. That is pretty good by Adam Sard. We see his run and bounce off half-back, and so often lauded for ball in hand, but that is just 100% commitment to the contest, along with a couple of his buddies there that went back with as much courage, but Adam Sard never wavered. So he's a tremendous one-on-one defender. Sometimes that is lost when you watch him explosive with ball in hand.
Second season at the Blues. Pretty impressive in his debut year last year. Oh, Gresham absolutely threw that out of the contest. Now to Billings, off a step toward the goal line, and Oscar McDonald keen to see it through for a rush behind.
Oscar McDonald, another one. Increased opportunity by the looks of things with the departure of Liam Jones. So fascinating watch what the back six looks like for Carlton as we head into more normality of the season. That's a horrible turnover. O'Brien, missed opportunity.
Yep, and he needs to take all the opportunities he's got.
Tell you what, Tim Membry has been free inside forward 50 for 4 hours, and unfortunately for the Saints, the free kick wasn't to Wood, it was to Gresham. So Gresham will go back and test out those little pumping legs of his if he can go the journey from the arc.
So Lockie O'Brien with the mistake, and Jade Gresham has been limited in the last couple of years. 14 games in the last 2 seasons only for Gresham. Achilles rupture last season, the back injury in 2020. Have to kick it every bit of 50 here. On the right boot, it'll have the carry, not the accuracy. And St Kilda with a bright start here. They're peppering the scoreboard. 1 goal, 3 so far in this second term to close the gap to 13. Here is Sard. Trademark running bounce. That was a cheap one. Just got to keep ticking the stats over.
That's it.
Take them when you can get them. The link up handball's not quite there, but Sard made it good in the end. Handball to O'Brien, dropped it in the tackle, holding the ball.
2 in a row for O'Brien, so it's such a tough industry. So gets another opportunity on the rookie list. There'd be nerves, there'd be anxieties about his performance today, and that ability, yes, he plays most of his football on the outside, but that ability to stand up in a tackle just has left him and deserted him for the last couple of contests.
Great mark from Membry, the high kick inside the 50 from Sinclair, and Membry read it nicely in the pack. And he's going to go back and have another shot here, and it's been a dominant start to the second term for the Saints.
Well, the neutral fan, if they are sitting up in the stand there that holds the majority of the fans here today, they're getting their money's worth for all the action being at the one end. So Carlton dominant first quarter, now the Saints starting to really dominate the ground position and give themselves some opportunity.
So Membry on the approach to finish off his work, pushes the kick left, minus score. Just not able to quite capitalise on all the opportunities in this term so far, St Kilda, but the positive is that they're getting plenty of them. Newman will bring it in again for the Blues, working as their defensive coach with the AFLW program this season. Having a really positive impact with that side. Of course, we're here on Saturday afternoon and beat the Saints. Hewitt at halfback. Now to Williams, who wants to move the ball forward as he so often does.
Now he does his shoelace up. He could have followed up and gone again. It's more of a kick-only type of operation for the Blues at the moment, whereas that handball run and gun split the Saints open in the first quarter.
Kemp again crashes the pack. He's coming up really strongly at the footy. Fisher got onto his preferred left boot, then got crunched as he got rid of the ball. Chera takes the advantage, pushed as he kicked. Kick dribbles away to Nunes along the boundary line. Now to Philp, who runs inside the 50. Handball to Kennedy. Got run under it by Wilkie. Jones in the back 50 for the Saints. Hill. Now McKenzie, all by hand. Little flick over the top from Patton, didn't do a lot. Hewitt was there. Handball to Nunes from tight on the boundary line. Kicks to full forward. Battle goes back with the flight. So too does Campbell. And the Saints combine to see it across for a rush behind.
I think everyone's coming up for a bit of air from both teams. Callum Wilkie, just an eye on him. He's got the stone in the shoe at the moment as he just tries to run off a bit of a cork or a knee-on-knee situation. So I'll keep my eye on Callum Wilkie. Very important player to the Saints, newly inducted into their leadership group.
He's only missed the one game since crossing to the Saints as a rookie from North Adelaide in the Sandful. been such a reliable contributor down back for them, not only in his availability, but his productivity when he's out there. Crouch on the outer side. Kicks up the line. There's Sard with a fist for Carlton. Off to Chera. Handball back to Sard. Just guides his little deft pass around the corner. Handball onto Setterfield now, right on the boundary line on the outer side. Hill will stand under this. Philp got across and made him earn it though, and won the football for the Blues. Kicks inside the 50. Wilkie's there again.
Made the recovery.
Yeah, he's looking okay now, but he stepped across the line. It'll be tossed back in the forward pocket. There's a Saints jumper over there among the construction workers as well. You can see in the bottom or the right-hand side of your picture, just next to the boundary umpire, getting set to toss it back in. Halfway through this second term. Carlton by 13 points here on KO Sports. Joel Peterson and Mick Barlow calling the action on this Thursday morning from Icon Park. Billings away for the Saints. Tumbles the kick up the wing. Kings up to meet it strongly. Handball off to Jones. Jones spots Membry inside the 50. Membry's got Butler waltzing into an open goal, and he'll pop through his first. That was textbook from the Saints.
They got them out the back that time, so all of them came up nice and square to the contest, and Mitch McGovern actually read it really well. He was setting back as the spare Carlton player, all on his own, waiting for a hurried kick. Zach Jones, terrific use of the football through the middle of the ground. Just didn't blaze away, just kicked it nicely off the line, which allowed Membry to get back and take that mark. It was centimetre perfect, to pinch one of the greats out of broadcasting. And, yeah, then Membry over the top. Dan Butler, small forwards, they do a lot of work, a lot of the grunt work. So every now and then they just do need one out the back, a nice Joe the Goose, just to make them feel nice and valued, because they do the chase, to tackle the pressure very, very well.
There's our Saints fan in the construction site, just mowing down a sandwich as he
It's been a long
watches his side.
long smoko for the boys over there today. I'm counting they're into their second hour of smoko, which is great. They'll punch the ticket though, and I hope they do.
Putting the hard hat on there, Leighton Hewitt style as well, going for the backwards operation. He'll be pretty happy with what he's seen from his side here in this second
This
term.
one back around, so that's 7 points now for all the Blues' dominance Q1. Saints have tidied this one up.
You can argue they should be maybe a little bit closer as well, St Kilda, with the way they've dominated this second term. O'Brien chases the ball to the boundary on the wing. It'll be tossed back in.
Yeah, we don't have the luxury of stats today, so I'm going all off my eye, but what I do feel very strongly around is just that outnumber at the contest has been more so in the white than the blue this quarter. So Brett Ratton might have just challenged them on their effort and attitude towards getting to the ball and supporting their teammate, which they do again here.
Of course, Brett Ratton did some of his best work here at Icon Park back in the day for the Blues, the Carlton champion. Ball spills inside the 50 for the Saints. Membry tried to collect inside the line and was stepped across. A throw in inside the forward 50 for St Kilda. Blues fan among our construction workers as well. They're not standing anywhere near each other, the Carlton fan and the Saints fan, and that's not a huge surprise.
Safety first for the fellas.
Good to see.
Exactly how I'd picture it on a construction site, to be honest.
Big indoor training centre that they're building here at Icon Park.
The
Clark
setup of personnel.
and tumbled it around the corner, but McDonald's there as he tries to press his case for probably a vacant spot in round one of the 2022 season. The former D kicks up the line. Almost juggling the mark there was Joyce. Tried to pull it in with one hand. Clark's there at ground level. He blazes that one up into the legend stand. It bounces a couple of rows back, and it'll be taken as a penalty free kick by Zach Williams.
What's protocol here? They can just use the same footy, which is nice. Just kind of getting on with this business of life, hopefully into 2022.
Yep. There's a bit more normality resumed to things in this upcoming season. Cripps it was who took it in the end for Carlton and went back to Williams, so it didn't really matter. Now O'Brien on the back 50. Hits the target. That'll just maybe calm some of the second quarter nerves for Lockie O'Brien. Nunes back to O'Brien. We know he's such a talented runner, always has been, and that's what he can really offer to this Carlton side.
That's exactly what Carlton have harped on a little bit, but the Carlton run is completely evaporated. The kick-to-handball ratio, again, we're devoid of stats, but the kick-to-handball ratio would be well and truly in the majority of kicks in this quarter.
Chera dropped the kick from Silvani. Gresham got in there to soccer it away as a throw on the outer side, and it's going to the Saints. So, 'Things just starting to turn here for St Kilda.
Just lapping up every opportunity that the Blues make a little mistake. Chera just a bit lazy, well, not a bit, very lazy in terms of just putting the ball into his mitts. Dropped it, fumbled it. Saints don't need two opportunities or 2 invites to get after it.
King 2 hands to it, couldn't pull it in for the Saints. Williams calm across half back. Oh, what a kick into the centre of the ground. Opens things right up. Owies is away for the Blues. Chips it to half forward to Curnow, who marks 60 from home.
Kick
Open goal. Charlie loads up, launches, misses. Zach Williams with the scything kick through the centre corridor to open things up. They can't quite convert the Blues.
Good opportunity there for Charlie. That's just repetitions. Now he's back in the side. Played that one game late last year, but repetitions around opposition at this intensity will just help him finish off his work next time he gets the opportunity.
Won't be long and we'll see Charlie kicking some of those and pulling in the marks that he's attacked today.
Brother Ed, not out there today.
Recently life member at the Carlton Footy Club is Ed.
One of the great stories, Ed Curnow. One of the great stories of perseverance.
I think he was named in their VFL side that'll play after this though, so whether he gets a run at some capacity or not.
It's a great way to unveil your life membership. The curtain closer to an AFL pre-season match. So Ed Curnow, as I said, just a warrior on the field, no fuss operator. Has brought a huge amount of aggression towards this side for a long time.
Ultimate clubman, he really is for the Blues. Webster in the centre of the ground here for the Saints, gets it from Sinclair and finds Membry. Webster strung it together, really consistent last season. And here he is again, the lefty Tasmanian sends it inside the 50 to King. Jimmy Webster, integral in the build-up. And this man's so integral to everything that's to come at St Kilda is Max King.
That he is. A good run and jump at it. Jimmy Webster, if I read correctly, in one of the local rags, sold his house for a nice little profit only recently as well, so in the confidential sections. But what they will really enjoy here is a 50-metre penalty, which is going to march King right to the goal line. But a great build-up. Again, what the Saints were able to do with ball in hand there was not be predictable. They just shifted the line of the ball. They took some ground. And eventually, by the time they got the ball to the launch pad to put it inside forward 50, Max King had a one-on-one, which would really back him in at most times.
So he eases it through, does King. He kicked 4 against Carlton when they met last season. He's on the board here. And the Saints have narrowed the gap to just 2 points late in this second quarter. They trailed earlier in the piece by 27 in that opening term, and now it's back to 2.
And as discussed earlier, this would be the makeup of their best available, you'd imagine. Well, without going overboard, we saw some Carlton players doing a match simulation session pre-game that you'd imagine they may just need the extra week to prepare themselves. Players like Jack Martin were participating in that. So the first half of this match is a really good indicator as to what they think at the moment is probably their best 26 to 30 players. So to even it up is good signs for the Saints as we get a reprieve from just a skewed bounce.
First one of those we've seen today from the umpires. The Saints, of course, with Collingwood in round 1. Then they're at Freo, Richmond and Hawthorn in their opening month. Carlton have got 2 Thursday nights against Richmond and the Dogs, Hawthorn and a trip to the Gold Coast to start. Free kick from the centre here going to Cripps. Overlap run in every direction. He looked 2 off and then gave it to Sard. Sard to O'Brien. O'Brien inside the 50. Oh, he's the target. He can't pull it in. Hewitt collects at the feet and then he snapped around the corner but missed. So 3 points, the spread. Kilda kick in for St Kilda. No goals to Carlton in this term, just the 5 behinds. St Kilda with 3 goals, 4. As Wood takes a good mark up at half back. Wants to go down the line. King and Wiedering in the wrestle. Wiedering, such a wily defender.
And that's where Max King's still working into his body. In the early stage of his career, that one-on-one on top of the head isn't his one, Wood. Whereas he likes to run and jump at it. Nice little intercept there by Mason Wood.
He's done a couple of nice things picking the footy off today, Mason Wood. What do you think the ceiling is for Max King? So he kicked 6, 5 and 4 in games last year. He was prolific in the later stage of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exactly that, isn't it? The sky's the limit for both King boys, and unfortunate about Ben up on the Gold Coast with the injury. Max has been through that before, but Max King, we're going to enjoy watching him for a long time.
He's a real foundational piece of this St Kilda Footy Club. Here's another with the potential to be just that in Hunter Clark.
Such a hard position as well. It's stating the obvious, that key forward position. You look today, he'll always have the number one defender every time St Kilda play a game for the next foreseeable future, really. It's okay, Max King, you get the number one defender and the best at shutting out opposition forwards.
You roll up to a pracky match, you think you might get, an emerging defender. No, you're on Jacob Wiedering.
Yeah,
Thanks
Jacob
a lot.
Wiedering. Here you go. Work your way into this one.
There's certainly nothing gentle about that. Patton drives it inside the 50. Here he's Wiedering. King brings it to ground. Campbell, the rover for the Saints, maybe an unlikely one. Ross, handball to Higgins, buzzing around inside the 50. Sinclair jams it on the boot. Back to Higgins, standing start to full forward. Durden going back with the flight, couldn't drag it in. Sard's there at the top of the defensive goal square. A little bit of soccer skills. That was nice dribbling work from Adam Sard, and then Boyd's turned it over. Now that it's Saints with a chance.
Whoop.
Burns away to Sinclair. The step, the snap, it'll go to the behind line and over. And another minor score for the Saints, their 5th of this second term.
Clawing it back one by one, and further to that point, Max King, yes, every time he plays an opposition, he has to play on the best defender. I guarantee you, match simulation, playing a lot of footy with Matthew Pavlich back in the day, he said every week Luke McFarlane had to come stand him in match simulation, so you hardly got a reprieve during the week either to think that the highest quality defender within your side usually mans you up during the week.
Two of the best in the business in their time in the AFL, those two. McFarlane now the coach of the Dockers.
Pharmacist as well. He's got it all covered. One of the...
He's got life outside of footy sort of as well.
One of the true gentlemen, one of the great men. Very handsome as well. Had the jawline, which just didn't deviate. And
the Mark Webber style jawline.
He can sing. He can do it all. He's one of the greats, Luke McFarlane.
Ball will be tossed back in here, deep inside forward 50 for the Saints. So in this game so far, just the 2 goals kicked to the Royal Parade end. The remainder, 10 of them.
Oh, that's a free kick.
To the Legends stand end. Free kick off the footy here, paid by the out-of-zone umpire.
Yeah, it's great. Oh, gee whiz, we're all over the umpires and how well they're going today. But Ray was blindsided behind the contest, and there was a huge lingering tackle on Higgins there. I think it might have been Boyd who lingered with the tackle, and the umpire standing off, as he did, could scout the contest and see what happened after the contest, and he rode him into the ground, as we're about to see on the replay. So Saints about to go back and put themselves in front with the hook around the corner.
So Higgins goes around the body right to the line. Does it just snuck home? No.
I'm going to throw my pen. I'm getting like 40 metres out. Oh, he would have kicked from 35. If you kick a drop punt, you're at least going to make the distance. So infuriating there. Just a bit of tomfoolery by Higgins, and gets his just desserts, really.
Might not have thought his way through that as much as he'd like. So the margin back to a point. Remember, Carlton led by 27 points at the 21-minute mark of the opening term. The Saints have kicked the next 6 or the next 5 goals of the match.
There's probably a handful of players you can cop that from. Your Lance Franklin's, your Stevie Johnsons back in the day, that it's their way. But if you're not in that handful,
King with a massive fly comes over the pack. He saw to rise as he gets up to his haunches. Newman goes sliding through. Here's Higgins, picks it up, snaps on goal and gets this one home. And now the Saints are in front.
Made me look like an idiot, hasn't he? Jack Higgins, 7-point play he's gone for. And that is his go. He is mercurial.
Just like he drew it up.
But when you've got the simple things in front of you, Jack, just do the simple things well. And that then will flow into when you get an opportunity to be sparky and absolutely ludicrously good like he was there. That will come off just as well. So the Saints, have come from nowhere. It's all doom and gloom Q1 around their fortunes and what they were doing, and now they hit the lead here at Icon.
Nice little throw on the boot inside traffic, and we know he can do some special things with the footy. Of course, the goal of the year winner back in 2018, Higgins.
Old Kung Fu throw and kick. Not sure where I sat on that one in the end, but he's got the award. He's got that speech that I don't think it went down as the most well put together speech, but Hats off to him.
There's a few contenders for that, Mick, I reckon. The Saints hack it inside the forward 50 again. Dominant here in this second term. Can they jag another late one? Membry centres it up. Oh, diving mark taken by King, who's pulled it in.
Second slip. Going down to his right. Almost on the second crack. Fingers in the dirt. Great stuff.
It's Billings who's pulled it in. Going down low. That's a great mark.
I'm thinking he might have just winded himself or done himself a little mischief here, Billings, as well, on landing into the turf. So he'll need to take his full allotted to make sure that he can gather himself and go whack. He'll have to kick it from 52.
So 5 goals in the opening term to Carlton kicking to this end. Jack Billings from right on the 50, looking for St Kilda's fifth. It's punched through, and they'll sneak it behind to end the second term. The Saints, with all the running in the second quarter, kicking 4 goals, 7. Carlton adding the 5 behinds. And at half-time here at Icon Park, it is St Kilda 6-8-44 to the Blues 5-8-38. And fair to say they got going a lot more there in that second term, Mick.
Absolutely. The old two tales were told across the first half. The Blues out of the blocks, but the Saints, as we watch the replay here, Billings, I reckon, it just got caught under his right set of ribs. He went back. He was still digging in the big ones as we speak, but well done, St Kilda. They just got to work. Brett Ratton would have given them a simple message at quarter time and told them just to lift their output in terms of their intensity inside the contest to start. Give yourself a chance at the contest and everything else can flow on from there. And now the Blues, as we see on our monitors, just have a little bit of soul searching to do and collect their thoughts around where did that first quarter effort go. All between the ears, a little bit of it. Get to support your mates. Don't just take for granted that the ball is going to go into your mitts and give the opposition an opportunity. So the Saints, with all the momentum, up by 6 points.
And so much of what Carlton did well in that first term is what the Saints turned around in that second. They found that overlap run, the pressure was there, and they really started to open things up in transition, which is exactly what we saw from Carlton early. I guess the message from Michael Voss would just be, boys, where did what we do in that opening term go?
Yeah, coaching was that easy, wasn't it? Just go in and say, look, what did we do in the first quarter was good. Let's do more of that, less of the second quarter. But, yeah, in terms of the attitude at the contest was number one. But number two was blatant, that they went back into their shell with the ball and no one wanted to take the responsibility of running from behind. Zach Williams at stages did. He took the bull by the horns and ran from behind and overlapped and gained some yardage. But for the majority of that quarter, it was all kick, chip, and invite the pressure from the opposition if that kick just did miss by only a marginal margin. So, yep, well done St Kilda, who buried back into it. And we'll see some personnel change at half-time, but in terms of attitude and intent, that's what both coaches will look for their players to come out and put into practice for Q3.
Absolutely. So goals to the Saints, to Campbell, Wood, Membry, Higgins, Butler and King. 4 of them coming there in that second term. And for Carlton, 2 to Jack Silvani, both in the first quarter. Matt Kennedy, Corey Durden and Matt Owies, all in the opening term. The Blues managing the 5 behinds there in that second quarter. The Saints with 4 goals, 7. After a 20-point lead to Carlton at quarter time, it is the Saints by 1 straight kick at the half. Second half not too far away. We'll step away for a moment here from Icon Park, this AFL 2022 practice match on KO Sports. Side the 50 towards Curnow. Wilkie hands to it, brings it down for the Saints. Some instant great pressure from Carlton. Silvani in front of the sticks to get Carlton on the board in season 2022. Silvani does it with ease. And in the opening minute, the applause is drawn from the fans in the Legend stands. Carlton with the first of the game.
And they've all got around him. They've come from everywhere.
Campbell turns Rover. Higgins to Steele, now inside the defensive 50 for home. Sends it right to the line, and it's pulled in on the behind line.
Essentially an uncontested mark for Membry.
Goes around the corner from the pocket, finishes nicely. And Membry's got St Kilda's first of this year. The first of the game in the opening minute. for his second here for the Blues. That's a lovely set shot. Umpire does no work at all, and Silvani's got two on the left boot up the outer side. Kennedy sits under it. Campbell over the top. Hems it on the left boot up the outer side. Kennedy sits under it. Campbell over the top. Kicks up the line to another player who showed plenty of promise. Burns able to collect it. Eventually, Clark almost run down by Owies. Pressure forces the turnover. The former Sainty Nunes picks it up to Philp. Goes inside the 50. Kemp almost drags it in. Owies at their feet. Nice little knock on. Sockers it off the ground and just rolls it home. The Saturday Night Fever, John Travolta style slide with ball in hand. Got the handball away. Kick inside the 50 for the Blues. Free kick paid.
I'll get another one.
And Callum
option may be the go for Matt Kennedy this season.
Kennedy goes around the body and curls it home. And the Blues here at Icon Park are out by 21. Now Hewitt standing start on the 50. That's going to be mopped up by Wood at fullback for St Kilda. Either that or they've got the background on their Zoom meeting when they're sitting on the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Curnow takes it out of the ruck. Squaring Blues. A couple of games late last year for Corey Durden, and he finds another one for Carlton. 5 in the opening. One last year against Richmond. And back injury hampered his season. Kick into the centre of the ground. Knocked away by Jones to Higgins to King. Can he dribble one home for the Saints? Not quite. Barney at half forward. Goes a bit deeper than that. 2 Saints there, including Membry, who rise order. So 6 left in this opening term. Membry kicks down the line. Campbell at 50. Kemp will get a run at this. And there's Tim Membry.
There's the +1 behind the ball. Just
long kick inside the 50. Gets over the back of King. Races on into the pocket. Campbell goes off the ground. Throws a boot at it and rolls it home. He's going to whip it across the centre corridor. Into the centre circles looking for Williams. He's going to whip it across the centre corridor. Into the centre circles looking for Williams.
very excited for the next decade.
Excited about this man as well. Patrick Cripps with a little step. Flicks the handball on over the top to Silvani. Lines with Williams. Sends it inside the defensive 50 to Boyd. Kick cut off by Wood.
Zucker can go make it play.
7-2 from his 9 games last season, and that's a lovely set shot from Mason Wood. Smothered by Fisher. Nice pressure from the Blues. Handball from Durden. Trying to work it defensively. It's picked on by Butler. Pokes it inside the 50 to Membry. Usman Charlie Curnow comes up and meets the footy. Really good win. Fisher. Paul Silvani, 2 goals in that opening turn. To Kennedy. For the Saints. Hewitt's there. Taken by Ross. Owies is in there to disrupt. It spills to Durden. Has a snap. Leaves it narrow. First score of it. Sent up toward half forward. King overran it. Spilled to Gresham. Gresham around the body inside the forward 50. Sarge across to thump it away, and that draws the applause.
He plays most of his football on the outside, but that ability to stand up in a tackle just as left him.
Tumbles the kick up the wing. King's up to meet it strongly. Handball off to Jones. Jones spots Membry inside the 50. Membry's got Butler waltzing into an open goal, and he'll pop through his first. That was textbook from the Saints.
They got them out.
Williams calm across half back. Oh, what a kick into the centre of the ground. Opens things right up. Owies is away for the Blues. Chips it to half forward to Curnow, who marks 60 from home.
Kick
Open goal. Charlie loads up, launches, misses. Sinclair and finds Membry. Webster strung it together, really consistent last season. And here he is again, the lefty Tasmanian sends it inside the 50 to King.
They took some ground, and eventually, by the time they got the ball to the launch pad to put it inside forward 50, Max King had a one-on-one, which would really back him in that.
King and Wiedering in the wrestle. Wiedering, such a wily defender.
That one-on-one on top of the head isn't his one, Wood, whereas he likes to run and jump at it. Nice little intercept there by Mason Wood.
He's done a couple of nice things. Durden going back with the flight, couldn't drag it in. Sard's there at the top of the defensive goal square. A little bit of soccer skills. That was nice dribbling work from Adam Sard, and then...
But if you're not in that handful,
King with a sort of rise as he gets up to his haunches. Newman goes sliding through. Here's Higgins, picks it up, snaps on goal and gets this one home. And now the Saints are in front.
Made me look like an idiot, hasn't he? Jack Higgins, 7 points.
Again, Donnan here in this second term. Can they jag another late one? Membry centres it up. Oh, diving mark taken by King, who's pulled it in. Donnan here in this second term. Can they jag another late one? Membry centres it up. Oh, diving mark taken by King, who's pulled it in. inside the 50 towards Curnow. Wilkie hands to it, brings it down for the Saints. Some instant great pressure from Carlton. Sylvain in front of the sticks to get Carlton on the board in season 2022. Silvani does it with ease. And in the opening minute, the applause is drawn from the fans in the Legend stands. Carlton with the first of the game.
And they've all got around him. They've come from everywhere.
Campbell turns rover. Higgins to steal, now inside the defensive 50 for home. Sends it right to the line, and it's pulled in on the behind line.
Essentially an uncontested mark for Membry.
Goes around the corner from the pocket, finishes nicely. And Membry's got St Kilda's first of this year. The first of the game in the opening minute. For his second here for the Blues. That's a lovely set shot. Umpire does no work at all, and Silvani's got two on the left boot up the outer side. Kennedy sits under it. Campbell over the top. Ends it on the left boot up the outer side. Kennedy sits under it. Campbell over the top. Kicks up the line to another player who showed plenty of promise. Burns able to collect it. Eventually, Clark almost run down by Owies. Pressure forces the turnover. The former Sainty Nunes picks it up to Philp. Goes inside the 50. Kemp almost drags it in. Owies at their feet. Nice little knock on. Sockers it off the ground and just rolls it home. Saturday Night Fever, John Travolta style slide with ball in hand. Got the handball away. Kick inside the 50 for the Blues. Free kick paid.
I'll get another one.
And Callum
option may be the go for Matt Kennedy this season.
Kennedy goes around the body and curls it home. And the Blues here at Icon Park are out by 21. Now Hewitt standing start on the 50. It's going to be mopped up by Wood at fullback for St Kilda. Either that or they've got the background on their Zoom meeting when they're sitting on the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Curnow takes it out of the ruck. Squaring Blues. A couple of games late last year for Corey Durden, and he finds another one for Carlton. 5 in the opening. One last year against Richmond. Back injury hampered his season. Kick into the centre of the ground. Knocked away by Jones to Higgins to King. Can he dribble one home for the Saints? Not quite. Marnie at half forward. Goes a bit deeper than that. 2 Saints there, including Membry, who rise order. So 6 left in this opening term. Membry kicks down the line. Campbell at 50. Kemp will get a run at this. And there's Tim Membry.
There's the +1 behind the ball. Just
long kick inside the 50. Gets over the back of King. The race is on into the pocket. Campbell goes off the ground, throws a boot at it and rolls it home. He's going to whip it across the centre corridor into the centre circles looking for Williamson. He's going to whip it across the centre corridor into the centre circles looking for Williams.
Very excited for the next decade.
Excited about this man as well. Patrick Cripps with a little step. Flicks the handball on over the top to Sylvain. Hands. Combines with Williams. Sends it inside the defensive 50 to Boyd. Kick cut off by Wood.
User. Can he go make the pay?
7-2 from his 9 games last season, and that's a lovely set shot from Mason Wood. Smothered by Fisher. Nice pressure from the Blues. Oh, handball from Durden. Tried to work it defensively. It's picked off by Butler. Pokes it inside the 50 to Membry. Right boot looks for Charlie Curnow. Comes up and meets the footy.
Really good awareness.
Fisher, handball to Silvani. 2 goals in that opening term to Kennedy. Inside the forward 50 for the Saints. Hewitt's there. Tackled by Ross. Owies is in there to disrupt. It spills to Durden. Has a snap. Leaves it narrow in the first score of the second. Up toward half forward. King overran it. Spilt to Gresham. Gresham around the body inside the forward 50. Sards across to thump it away, and that draws the applause.
He plays most of his football on the outside, but that ability to stand up in a tackle just as left.
Tumbles the kick up the wing. King's up to meet it strongly. Handball off to Jones. Jones spots Membry inside the 50. Membry's got Butler waltzing into an open goal, and he'll pop through his first. That was textbook from the Saints.
They got them in.
Williams, calm across half back. Oh, what a kick into the centre of the ground. Opens things right up. Owies is away for the Blues. Chips it to half forward to Curnow, who marks 60 from home.
Kick
Open goal. Charlie loads up, launches, misses. Sinclair and finds Membry. Webster strung it together, a really consistent last season. Here he is again, the lefty Tasmanian. Sends it inside the 50 to King.
Well, they took some ground, and eventually, by the time they got the ball to the launch pad to put it inside forward 50, Max King had a one-on-one, which would really back him in.
King and Wiedering in the wrestle. Wiedering, such a wily defender.
Yeah, that one-on-one on top of the head isn't his one, Wood, whereas he likes to run and jump at it. Nice little intercept there by Mason Wood.
He's done a couple of nice things. Durden going back with the flight, couldn't drag it in. Sards there at the top of the defensive goal square. A little bit of soccer skills. That was nice dribbling work from Adam Sard, and then
But if you're not in that handful, holy mackerel.
King with a sort of rise as he gets up to his haunches. Newman goes sliding through. Here's Higgins, picks it up, snaps on goal and gets this one home. And now the Saints are in front.
Made me look like an idiot, hasn't he? Jack Higgins, 7 point.
Again, dominant here in this second term. Can they jag another late one? Membry centres it up. Oh, diving mark taken by King, who's pulled it in. Dominant here in this second term. Can they jag another late one? Membry centres it up. Oh, diving mark taken by King, who's pulled it in. So half-time here at Icon Park in this second of the AFL's 2022 practice matches on KO Sports. It's the Saints by a goal after trailing by 20 points at quarter time. St Kilda with 4 goals, 7 in that second term, and they lead Carlton 6-8 to 5-8 at half-time. Joel Peterson and former Docker and son Mick Barlow with you on this cool Thursday morning. Overcast skies here in Melbourne. A nice little crowd in as well to watch the Saints and the Blues go at it early, and it's been a tale of 2 quarters so far. Mick, it sounds rather reductive to put it that way, but Carlton dominant in the first term and the Saints much the same in the second.
Yeah, absolutely. So all, well, not all square, but a very close one in terms of scoreboard, but looking for maybe a closer quarter, a really competitive quarter, some stoppage dominance, contest dominance that quarter by the Saints, whereas Carlton had that in the first quarter. So some personnel changes into the second half. We'll have a look at Jared Leanett, former Port Adelaide player. Jack Hayes, the mature ager from Woodville, West Torrens.
Yeah, the Jack Odie medalist from last year, 2-time Eagles premiership player.
Handy, so he'll play a bit half forward and chop out in the ruck, as well as Long comes into the second half for the Saints. It'll be interesting as the Blues just make their way out. Murkov is out there in the T-shirt still, so whether they're intending to give him a run in the ruck and see him press the flesh here against some real hard-hitting AFL bodies remains to be seen. But Ray Chamberlain, he had the tracksuit pants on. I thought he was going to call it a day, but he's ripped them off and he's ready to take the first bounce before we get underway. So
imagine Ray doing, the NBA players, how they sit on the bench and they've got the pants on and then they just rip them off. They've got the Velcro down the side. Ray would go for that.
Looked a little bit Velcro-y from Ray, if I'm honest, but no, he's out there ready to rock and roll. So Matt Cruz are doing some work there for the Blues in terms of some ruck coaching and mentoring, which will be invaluable for a player like Murkov, new to the game, fresh to the game. So first glance, Blues look fairly similar to what they had, if not absolutely exact to what they had in the first half. So whether that was intended or Michael Voss has seen that decreased output in effort and ability to move the football in the second quarter, and requires a little bit more from the men he's picked for the first half. So it'll be interesting to see if that style, if they do get back to moving the ball a little bit quicker and and backing their skill set in with ball in hand and get the ball moving and put the back six of the Saints under a bit of pressure.
So the Blues about to get going. Fogarty was the other one we didn't see in that first half of the 26 named for Carlton. Of course, both of these sides have got a VFL practice match after this. So a couple of players named in both. Paddy Dow's another one that we haven't seen out there as yet for the Blues, who was named. He was named in the VFL as well.
Yeah, he's one. He's hard to catch, Paddy Dow, isn't he? He shows some glimpses, and clearly his best position is through the middle of the ground. And when you see George Hewitt come on a 4-year deal, you see Adam Cerra come in at the talent that Adam Cerra has. You know, it's going to push you down the batting order a little bit. So Paddy Dow might have to bide his time in the VFL and have a good little crack at it before getting his opportunity at the top level. A few interested fantasy watchers as well looking on Joel today. And
yeah, it's a crucial part of the fantasy season, isn't it? The pre-season games, trying to, especially with those cash cow type players.
Well, players like Jade Gresham, who missed a lot of football last year. I've noticed him just come up to the stoppage a little bit as an extra on baller. So is he one they're looking to free up a little bit and get up around the football? He'll be better for the run, clearly, and heading into round one, he'd be one that would be on a lot of fantasy boards. Bradley Hill is a bit of Mr. Fix-It at the moment for the Saints. What we saw in Q1 was on the wing, up and down, wasn't getting much of the football, and they were really under the pump in the back six. So he went back and gave them some jump and some spark off half-back where he starts today, which, you know, that high half-back role, it is the most offensive position on the ground. So when you see Bradley Hill lining up at half-back, it's very good for fantasy owners. Paddy Cripps, I think he's really set for a big season. He'll cost a lot of money in the fantasy, but what he does is he just gets a lot of the football. He's already had a lot of the football, and I love the fact Adam Cerra is really reading off him and just getting to his chest and making it a 1-2 punch there, Cripps to Cerra.
So the Saints by a goal as we start the second half of this pre-season practice game on KO Sports. Steals in among the action for the Saints. Kicks forward toward Butler in the wrestle with Newman. Getting in there to toe poke the footy forward for the Blues was Williams. Wood might have been grabbed high. He's brought to ground. Umpire's going to ping him instead.
Been lively, Mason Wood. Not a great start for him, but again, someone that just gets thrown around ad nauseum. Spends a fair bit of time up on the wing, high half forwards where he made his mark. He's had a good first half, anticipating and turning over some footballs, which he gets another opportunity here to do.
Oh, he's done a couple of nice things, Mason Wood. He disrupts things there, gets it to Jones. Jones is going to kick to King in a 2-on-1 inside the forward 50. McGovern's across to intercept. Yeah. We've heard it so often in the West, and now we're hearing it here at Icon Park.
Yeah, good luck, Max King. Zach Jones just need a little bit more composure. It's a tough game. It's a tough and fast game, but it was just 2-on-1. Max King fighting out of his weight division well and truly there.
Wiedering outside the defensive 50 to Durden, who's been okay for the Blues, the youngster. Newman just calmly guides the kick towards Silvani. Can't collect cleanly on the half volley. Came in over the top there with a high tackle on Patton. And Patton's away. Rolls onto the right boot. Sends a high footy inside the 50. King with a run at it. Pulls it in. Oh, Saints fans would love to see that at full forward. The big fella going up strong and dragging the mark in 30 out.
They're just getting better at the kick to him, isn't it? It's connectivity over a long period which builds that ability for a key forward to have that trust in exactly what's going to come in front of you. And so the mids of St Kilda are starting to figure out what Max King likes, and it's exactly that. If you see space and grass in front of him, just 7-iron for him, 7-iron, and he'll have a nice run and jump and finish it off.
Can he finish off his work? Not quite on this occasion. First score of the second half, a minor one for the Saints. Puts their lead at 7 points. King kicked a goal in that second term. Leading goal kicker last season for the Saints with 38, including 25 goals in his last 10 games. So he really finished the season off quite strongly. McGovern from half-back for the Blues to Cerra to Fisher in the centre of the ground. Kennedy almost got caught by Billings. Newman almost got caught by Ross. They've worked this out though, the Blues, and Durden enters the 50 to Kemp, who's attacked the ball hard all game and finally latches onto one. He's going to lay it off to Cerra.
Just went to 15.1, that one. Umpire tossed and turned. Did he want to pay it? He did. But that's beautiful. Beautiful from end to end from the Carlton side. And that's exactly replicating what they were doing in the first quarter. They were going quick. They were just first option, give it, and the game will evolve in front of you. So the defenders there for the Saints had absolutely no hope as that punching ball came in towards forward 50 for Kemp, who's laid it off to Chera.
So plenty of expectation around young Adam Chera in his first season in navy blue. Set sail for home, and plenty of cheers from the legend stands after that. Carlton players rush to Chera from everywhere. His first in anger in navy blue, and the Blues get the first of the second half.
It's a bit of a moral dilemma, really, isn't it? In terms of first goal for the club, it's not an official goal, and you're playing fullback. 3 Carlton players took it upon themselves and said, look, I'm not counting this one. I'm going to stay back. Jordan Boyd, Oscar McDonald and Jacob Wiedering said, we'll wait till the big stuff. Richmond, round 1. You kick a goal for us that day, and we'll get down and celebrate with you. But nice finish, nice purposeful build-up. There wasn't much the St Kilda side could do about that. It was just silky skills from end to end.
Carlton fans would love to see Chera out there and finishing nicely there. Stands alongside Brad Crouch at the stoppage. Nick Barlow with you on KO Sports. John Peterson calling the action. The Blues back within a point. Cripps at the stoppage, powerful. Just rips the footy away, sheds the tackle. Handball to Kennedy. Kennedy inside the 50. Silvani slides in.
This run of goals to the crowd's end is continuing, or the runner scores. Centre clearance. I'd imagine Paddy Cripps is up to 7 or 8 plus clearances already across this match and doing a lot of his great work at the centre square bounce. His ability just to shrug his shoulders, get his arms free and identify the player in space. In that occasion, it was Matt Kennedy. He does it as well as anyone, Paddy Cripps.
So Jack Silvani kicked 2 goals to this end in the opening term. With the set shot here, can't add a third. Misses to the near side. So 10 goals kicked to that legend stand end here in this game so far, and we are tied at 45 apiece. Carlton led by as many as 27 late in the opening term. The Saints whittled it back with a dominant second term. The Blues with the ascendancy here early in the third. Long kick in from Webster. Pitane to Hewitt to O'Brien. Jams the Blues inside the 50. Durden tried to protect the space, but Sinclair was able to reach across and thump it out of play.
In that controversial champion data elite category, I think Jack Sinclair may have been the only player from St Kilda that was in that. I may be wrong, but obviously that ability to close down opposition and give them a little bit of bounce off half back, well and truly noted. And had a very, very nice year last year, a career year, Jack Sinclair.
Runner-up in the best and fairest. The stoppage, Fisher to Owies to Silvani. On the run this time. Low kick to full forward. Joyce up to meet it for the Saints. Couldn't quite gather it cleanly and the pressure came quickly. Campbell tumbles through for St Kilda. Handball cut off by O'Brien, who hooks it around the body toward full forward, but Sinclair's back there once more for the Saints. Gallops away inside the defensive 50, spreads it wide. Billings goes up, can't reel it in. Then got bumped off the football. Free kick and advantage here to the Saints. Sharman's away with it. Low kick up toward half forward to Higgins, who immediately plays on and wants to move the football. Skies it to the edge of the arc. O'Brien back with the flight, dropped the mark. Able to mop up. Finds Fisher by hand. Fisher sends the Blues back the other way. Charlie Curnow to target and battle. Worked him under it nicely. He's been promising down back for the Saints. Maybe just settling into a position after being tossed around in the early part of his career. Williamson at halfback for the Blues to Wiedering, who nurses the kick to Fisher. Wasting no time. O'Brien tries the slips catch, can't quite hold on. Farmed the handball up to Sard. Arches the back and kicks inside the 50 to Charlie with one hand.
1-1 there. Battle had his moment. Nice little edge under just moments before on Curnow, and Curnow said, I'll just up you one there. 1-on-1 coming in. A dirty ball from Adam Sard. Just able to work him underneath was Charlie Curnow and put the one mid up, and he's got a big mid which wrapped in the Sherrin, and we'll get a perfect view of this one to see if he can go make good of his work.
Had a shot in that second term from long range. He arcs around and kicks an absolute wobbler toward goal. Not quite his best effort, Charlie. It's good enough to give the Blues back the lead, but you not want to see better than that from the set shot in future.
Yeah, I think as he went out, I think he started to second guess himself and pulled up on the kick. So again, similar to the Jack Higgins ones early on, you'd think Charlie Curnow has it from 45, and he could have just gone back and punted it post height.
King threw his hands after the kick from Battle up the line for the Saints. Jones is there. Kicks off a standing start. Wobbling football read well by McDonald for the Blues. Free kick off the ball here. Going to St Kilda. So the out-of-zone umpire paid that at half-back for the Saints. And Oscar McDonald left frustrated as he has to toss the football to Jack Higgins.
Nothing worse.
Higgins to half-forward for the Saints. Sharman in from the side. Wiedering had best position. Jammed it on the boot to McDonald. To O'Brien. Nurses the boundary line with his kick over the head of Silvani. Fisher left it behind. Campbell got down low, picked it up. Handball to Wilkie. Did well. Got the handball away to Steele. 7 metre kick to Clark. Handball back to Wilkie. The Saints willing to possess the football. Joyce dropped a sitter. He was able to regather. Kicks up the line. Pitane across. Almost the ruck tap there in the marking contest. And the umpires have found a free kick again to the Saints here in King.
Stiff. Oh, well, not stiff. It was badly executed there by the Blues. They had 4-1. Max King being the only one. And the Shepherd was a bit crude as the ball was in the air.
So King offloads into the pocket and finds his direct opponent.
Not very good either.
Wiedering in the goal square to Jack Nunes. 29 today is Jack Nunes and gets a 50.
He may get 100 here if he does it right. Long gets out of the way. So players are getting a little bit more clever at that when they give away the 50. Long went on with it a little bit there as well to the umpire. So it'll be interesting to see how tightly they adjudicate the new rule in terms of respecting the umpires.
O'Brien swings it wide and now Newman's inside the 50 to Curnow, who charges out and clutches it to his chest.
Now he could kick the distance here, Charlie Curnow, but from his last effort where he came around on the angle and tried to punch it from 45, that diminishes my confidence. But naturally you'd think Charlie Curnow, who's going back with a bit of purpose here, should have a crack at him and have a licence to have a crack at him from 55 plus.
He made the journey on the run from the other end earlier with the stand rule. It should give him a little bit of help. Hasn't kicked one yet, Charlie. From outside the arc, Curnow launches it from downtown and hits the left-hand goalpost. Got every bit of that. Just not quite straight enough.
Press on here, Carlton. Every player in the front third for them, trying to put a bit of pressure on the precise ball use of the Saints.
So need to be clean here, St Kilda. Patton legged after he kicked it. Goes to the outer side. Williams does enough to thump it out of play opposed to Burns. A couple of the injured Carlton players watching on. Harry Mackay up there, Jack Martin as well among them. Both in a little bit of a match sim earlier on before this game. Mackay, a big chance for round one with that joint soreness in his foot. Jack Martin really hasn't had a run at it, well, even since his Gold Coast days, Mick.
Yes, he plays with such tenacity that Jack always puts himself in harm's way with contact injuries. So potentially Michael Voss and his crew have thought today's game, protect him from himself.
Yep. Because he could be such a weapon for them. And it's a big thing for Carlton is if they can get all their side out on the park and avoid some of these injuries that have beleaguered them over the last couple of years, then that's where they think they just need a bit of that continuity and that experience playing as a group. Williams to Sard, the dynamic duo off half-back. Sard links up with Kennedy, darts it inboard, knocked away from Chera. Clark's there for the Saints to Jones. Higgins hand pass clever. Releases Long, who has to slip the tackle of Williamson. Couldn't quite, got caught, not holding the ball. The Blues force the turnover. Newman, McGovern through the centre through Setterfield and now out to Kennedy. Sard's hemmed in, puts the step on Sharman, goes inside the 50. Cripps presents, can't mark. Owies a hand to it. Philp comes flying through for the Blues inside the arc. Cripps goes to ground. Curnow had to brush off a teammate there as he fed the footy out to Chera. Left foot kick. Oh, that's a wonderful goal. Adam Chera showing every bit of his class. His second of the term. And Carlton out to an 8-point lead.
Great finish, Adam Chera. But watching that live, it won't do it service on the monitor in terms of Adam Cerra's ability just to understand he couldn't impact that contest. So on the bottom of the replay here, Adam Cerra will probably come into play at some stage, but everyone got drawn to the contest. All the white jumpers, as you see, got drawn into the player with the ball. Adam Cerra just held his width very nicely, and from 50 metres out, had ample time. Left foot, right foot, it wouldn't have mattered. And he has his second.
Notice the rising applause as well from the legend stand. The fans are pretty excited to see their new man.
These stands remind me of, obviously, the past 2 years in Victoria. It's been a bit grim, hasn't it, Joel, in terms of watching a lot of Netflix and catching up on past series. And the series of Underbelly used to have their little meetings with the Carlton club over in the deserted grandstand, and they would be loving the output of Adam Cerra here on the patch of turf that is so synonymous with Lygon Street and the area of Carlton.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of Carlton fans just looking forward to seeing the number 5 running around doing good things in the midfield once more.
Yes.
So Murkov gets a chance in ruck here for the Blues, the 210-centimetre former volleyballer. Saints with the stoppage clearance, tumbled inside the 50. Newman read it well. He sends it back the other way toward the wing. Hill runs onto it, can't keep it in.
I said Carlton Club. It's Carlton Crew. Carlton Crew, was it? The day from Underbelly, but Carlton again, third quarter, just absolutely dominating around the ball, and their ball use so much better and so much crisper. Charlie Curnow looking dangerous, whereas the Saints, they've just gone stagnant.
Nick Barlow with you on KO Sports, giving you an insight into this game and to Melbourne's underground crime scene. Cerra down the line.
It fascinates me, that stuff.
Wilkie got a fist in there. Battle, who's been used in defence today for the Saints and been pretty good. Campbell, first season at St Kilda. Jones back to Ross, who kicks an absolute wounded duck up to the wing. Free kick going to the Saints.
Newman did everything right until the end. He just was a bit zealous against Billings.
So Billings offloads to Jones. Third season at St Kilda. Spears the pass inside the 50.
It's Hayes.
And here's Jack Hayes, who's going to offload it into the pocket and find Brad Crouch. So Hayes, the train on, are out there along with Leanett, and Crouch from the pocket. He's going to chip short to Long. Didn't get to him on the full, so they put themselves under pressure here, the Saints, across half forward. Billings kicks to the top of the square, up high Wiedering. Gee, he pulls in a wonderful mark, twisting in the air as he dragged it in.
Plays like a forward, doesn't he, Wiedering? It's becoming synonymous with those really good key defenders now. They're encouraged to go for their marks. When they're in the air, just go for your marks if you feel like you can mark it. And he's done that a couple of times.
I know that the key backs aren't the sexiest players out there. I love watching Jacob Wiedering.
He's a good player to watch. Carlton have so often, I'll let you call this a little bit of passage play, but talk about Carlton's defensive stocks in a second.
Wilkie inside forward 50. Again, Hayes was the target. Long met solidly in the tackle inside the 50. Setterfield to Newman. Handball to Cerra. Made O'Brien work for it along the boundary. Can't keep it in.
And Carlton, defensively for a number of years, have just played that one-on-one defence. So, Liam Jones and Jacob Wiedering have so often been under siege and been in one-on-one situations. That support drop-off defence from wingers and halfbacks hasn't been existent for the last couple of years. So they've been forced really to play that sexy role and do some really dynamic things in one-on-one contests.
Campbell at the stoppage. Sard had the handball knocked away. Jones went in for the Saints, wrapped up by Cerra, who's showing he can do some of the tough stuff as well. Ball up inside forward 50 for St Kilda. Saints yet to kick a goal here in this third term. Carlton with 2 goals 3 to lead by 8 points. They led by 20 at quarter time. The Saints by a kick at the half. Scrambled outside the defensive 50 for the Blues. Bounces high along the boundary line. Boyd's ridden into the turf by Butler.
It's interesting, isn't it? He was tackled over the boundary line. I feel like that second action, and it wasn't dangerous, but there was a second action pushing Boyd's head into the ground. Does it become null and void once it's out of play and blown dead, or that should nearly be paid?
Sometimes become a little bit worse.
Yeah.
If the ball's already out of play, it can become more of an egregious action, if you like. Jones burrows in at the bottom of the pack, can't clear it. The Saints would love to see the best of Dan Butler again this year.
Yeah, they would. He's up at the stoppage at the moment. Can be the graveyard shift, that high half forward. He found that last year. The year before, he had a dynamic year, so It's all about that work rate and effort as a high forward, and hopefully he gets on the end of a few.
Jones saw behind play here as the Blues move it forward through Cripps and Hewitt, who kicks to full forward. Kemp in the pack, Saints everywhere. Joyce is out the back for St Kilda to Hill.
That's well worked.
Lovely kick, beautifully weighted, and Steele runs onto it just inside the junction of the 50 at the boundary.
So St Kilda had all the numbers there on the last line of defence, and now this is why Jack Steele takes the mark and has to go back and take his time because nothing was ahead.
Kicks up the line. Campbell just ran into the space there. They cleared the runway for the big bloke.
And Murkov's on, so Murkov's going to have a look in the ruck there for Carlton.
Campbell's kick into the centre corridor. He's done that a couple of times today and it hasn't come off either time. Always has been rewarded with a free kick for the Blues. Inside the 50, Charlie stretches, can't mark. Out the back is Sinclair for the Saints. Now Wilkie, acre of space here for Billings to mark on the city side. Out in front of the construction site. Wheels away, Sharman. And a 2-year contract extension with his form late last year. On board to Sinclair. And now Hill, as they try and generate some run again, St Kilda. Hill inside the 50, King front spot, Sard out the back. And the Blues have numbers again. Clearing kick through Boyd. That's a good one as well, and Kemp comes up and he's able to mark just behind the wing. Shown some signs today, Brodie Kemp. Pretty highly rated. We've spoken about him a little bit, playing forward today as opposed to that defensive role. He turned the kick over there, and Durden's been another one who's been good for the Blues.
Yeah, lively, isn't he? He kicked he played his part in a few little goals early where he provided the pressure and those defensive acts which opened up the opportunities for his other forwards to get on the scoreboard. So they'd love playing with him, I'd imagine, guys like Durden and Owies.
Hewitt here at the stoppage for Carlton. Up towards Silvani, knocked away by Hill. Lean it with a touch for the Saints. Into traffic, Steele had it taken away. O'Brien dives in. Oh, the blind turn from Cripps got nailed in the tackle. Turnover forced by St Kilda. Higgins to Billings through the centre of the ground to Hill. He got taken by Williamson, caught holding the ball.
He might have been a bit stiff there, Bradley. Hill got his hand to the ball, but now the Blues are out.
They are off.
Oh,
Setterfield just couldn't judge it as he'd hoped.
Now the Saints are out.
And there's numbers here for St Kilda if it'll sit for Higgins, who slips the tackle. And then he got driven into the turf by Boyd, and McGovern's fallen awkwardly there coming over the top of Long. There are bodies flying everywhere here at Icon Park.
This needs the Benny Hill music just for now. This is... Nothing's going right for anyone.
Long was the only one who hadn't stopped. He kicked inside the 50 and turned it over. McGovern's back to his feet, shrugging off the trainer, which is good to see.
I'll tell you why he was back to his feet. Carlton had the ball. He was in space. He wanted to kick. And we'll go back and watch this tackle, bottom left, around Boyd. Great effort and intensity, but he just lingered and he slung Higgins into the turf really late. So watch this space on that tackle from the boy from Spotswood.
And then McGovern coming over the top of the pack. Here is Leanett again, a Sturt product. Kicks it up the line, looking for Ross, who had to turn defender in the end in the marking contest and fist it out for a throw-in. So Leanett and Hayes after a couple of vacant spots on the Saints list. Leanett, of course, as Mick mentioned earlier, Port Adelaide 23 games for the Power. His last game for the Power was actually against St Kilda in round 18 of last year. So against the side which he's featuring for today. Butler at the stoppage. Crouch tried to work it out to Patton, who made his way back to the football. Kicks inside the 50. King wrestles with Wiedering. Brings it down to Gresham. Almost lost his balance. Handball back to King, who squares it up to the top of the goal square. Woods up high, can't drag it in. Setterfield did well in defence. Williams combines with Setterfield, and now to Kennedy. Three of the former Giants inside the defensive 50 for the Blues, and Kennedy goes out to Durden. They worked that nicely there, Carlton, from under pressure. Durden down the line to Silvani. Silvani on over the top, back to Durden, who's continued to run on the outer side. Now he goes back inboard to Silvani. They're just the two of them waxing out there, and Silvani pokes it inside the 50. Owies can't take the mark. Patton was right there with him every step of the way. Crouch now for the Saints. Handball to Sinclair, tries to slip Durden. Couldn't quite. Handball found battle though. Wood, Clark and the Saints away. Down that outer side. Clark's kick turned over, straight to Boyd.
Just needed to find a mark there, didn't they, the Saints, just to take the air out of the defensive efforts from Carlton, but over handball.
Looks like there's some tired players out there. Things starting to get a little bit scrappy as Sard lasers one inside the 50. And Brodie Kemp's on the end of it for the Blues, 45 out. That is what Adam Sard can provide, that lethal left boot. So Brodie Kemp, we've spoken about him being important. 2 games last year, didn't kick a goal. The ACL injury in 2020 saw him miss all of the season after being the 17th pick in the 2019 draft. From just inside the 50, hits it and hits it beautifully.
Very good finish, very good finish. And just the normal run-up, didn't deviate, gave himself every chance and kicked through the ball and gets himself on the scoreboard. So, showing some signs as Kemp. In terms of that dynamic in their front half, you'd imagine Jack Martin, clearly Harry Mackay, become available. They'll slot back in. At what expense does that come? Because we've mentioned the forward pressure and now of Durden and Owies. You do need, at minimum, one of those players to provide the selfless chase and tackle and give yourself an opportunity at ground level. Zach Fisher, he spent some time at half forward, up around the ball. Matt Kennedy, similar story, 50-50 midfield forward. So the competition for spots is strong. Kemp will need a strong outing today and into next week to give himself every opportunity.
Former Docker and son Mick Barlow with you here on KO Sports. Kennedy takes it out of the middle for the Blues. Tumbles a kick inside the 50. Bouncing ball to the pocket. Wilkie's there to step it across. A few Carlton fans even happy with the stoppage at this stage with a smattering of applause.
There is. They just like the action out there. I think they can smell the liniment. They can hear the bodies crashing, so they're just enjoying the theatre of it at the moment.
So still just the 2 goals kicked to the Royal Parade end. The rest of the scoring done to this Legends stand end. Free kick in the ruck contest going to Campbell.
We talked about the backdrop here into the city of the greatest city in the world would like to claim it. It's had a tough couple of years though.
Absolutely, and it's very, very visible here with this construction going on. The Saints shoot it across the centre of the ground to Billings. Billings to Hill. Hill out at right half forward. Goes inside the arc to no one at all. Forwards throw their hands up in despair and Williams able to easily pick that one off for the Blues. Dangerous kick to Setterfield. Made it work, goes by hand back to McDonald. McDonald to Boyd for the Blues. Now to Wiedering, who tries to nurse it up the outer side. And a free kick's going to go to Carlton here. Cripps was being held onto. Sends it up the line to Silvani. The City wing. Called to move it on. He chips short to Owies, who's been lively again here for Carlton.
As you mentioned, Joel, both teams coming up for a little bit of air. 26 travelled third quarter, first real competitive hit out, so a little bit of possession without penetration as the Blues go inside forward 50.
3-3 for the Blues in this term, just the behind for the Saints. A free kick here for the high tackle going against Leanett, and it's Brodie Kemp.
Off the ball umpire, Razor Ray, popped that one. So again, got to admire the connection between umpires and understanding playing your role. So not picked up by the immediate officiator, but Razor provided the support. So Brodie Kemp could go back and kick a couple within 5 in front of that Legend stands. I'm sure we'll get a cutaway to this drop of the city skyline, which is tremendous at the moment, after Brodie puts it post height.
So Brodie Kemp out in front of the fans in that Legend stand, sends it toward goal for 2 in the quarter, just misses to the left-hand side.
There it is, the pan.
Points. So you can see behind the Legend stand, the view down the southern side to the city, over Icon Park, Oval number 1 out there where the Carlton Cricket Club have played, and that construction site for this massive redevelopment here at Icon Park.
Did you ever get to an AFL game when football was played here?
I don't think so, no.
I feel like I came to one really young, West Coast versus Carlton. Kudafiti's kicked 5 and had 40 or something along those lines.
That happened pretty frequently.
Did the Prince of the Navy Blues?
He owned this place, did Kilda back in the day. There were plenty who probably lay claims to ownership here at Princes Park over the years, both on field and off, you would imagine. Billings up the line
Hayes.
for the Saints.
Spoiled.
Hayes floats in, spoiled by King in the end, goes to ground along the boundary line and can't keep it in. So he's sort of a bit of everything, Jack Hayes. He can play forward.
So he's playing the ruck at the moment.
Yep.
Sorry to cut you off there, Joel, but yeah, a bit of forward and mixing his time into the ruck. So Tom Campbell might be having a spell, and Jack Hayes can come and play that 20% ruck role, which he does very well. To aplomb, beats out Pitney there.
Best on ground in the Sandford Grand Final last year, and the South Australian State captain gave Patrick Cripps a little bit of what for off the footy there as well, did Jack Hayes, making his presence felt. Blues have worked it down the line on the broadcast side here. Silvani, high kick inside the 50, puts it onto the head of the pack. Owies is among them, bounces to the boundary line. McKenzie slaps it across for a throw in. Patrick Cripps just behind the ball having a breather. Dan McKenzie coming off a pretty good season in defence for the Saints. Alongside Jack Nunes at the moment. As the ball is tossed back in, Hayes again in ruck. Worked under that one by Silvani. Hewitt goes in, tackled by Crouch. Silvani tries to wrestle it free from in there. Durden throws a boot at it. Sinclair does more so effectively. Kicks up the line. King comes sprawling forward. Can't take it with him. Williams intercepts for the Blues to O'Brien. Low kick looking for Durden. Sinclair might have just worried him out of it. Late in the piece here in this third term, we'll have it tossed back in. Carlton led by 20 points at quarter time. The Saints kicked 4 goals in that second term to lead by 6 at the half. And the Blues with the only 3 goals here in the third quarter. And they lead by 15 points at the moment. Pittenay to Chera. Chera's squaring kick to full forward, and again we see Tim Membry going back behind the ball late in the piece. And he cuts this one off. And it brings us to the end of the third term. And again, all the scoring done to the Legends stand end in that quarter. Just 2 goals to the right of your screen so far in the game toward the Royal Parade end. They both came to the Saints in the opening term. Carlton with 3 goals, 4 in that third term. The Saints only managing the behind through the set shot to Max King very early. And at 3/4 time here at Icon Park, it's the Blues 8-12-60 to St Kilda 6-9-45. 2 goals to Chera, 2 to Silvani for the Blues. Kennedy, Kemp, Durden and Owies each with 1 for the Saints. King, Butler, Higgins, Membry, Wood and Campbell each with goals. Overcast day here in Melbourne. A cool summer morning for football in this second of the AFL's 2022 practice matches on KO Sports. There's a quarter to come. It's the Blues by 15 points. We'll be back here at Icon Park in a moment on KO Sports. Jones is going to kick to King in a 2-on-1 inside the forward 50. McGovern's across to intercept. We've heard it so often in the West, and now we're hearing it onto the right boot. Sends a high footy inside the 50. King with a run at it, pulls it in. Rolls onto the right boot. Sends a high footy inside the 50. King with a run at it, pulls it in. To Chera, to Fisher in the centre of the ground. Kennedy almost got caught by Billings. Newman almost got caught by Ross. They've worked this out though, the Blues, and Durden enters the 50 to Kemp, who's attacked the ball hard all game and finally latches onto one. He's going to lay it off to Chera. First season in navy blue, sets sail for home, and plenty of cheers from the Legends stands after that. Carlton players run. John Peterson calling the action. The Blues back within a point. Cripps at the stoppage, powerful. Just rips the footy away, sheds the tackle. Handball to Kennedy. Kennedy inside the 50. Silvani slides in.
Ability to close down opposition and give them a little bit of bounce off half back, well and truly noted. And had a very, very nice year last year, a career year, Jack Sinclair.
Fisher sends the Blues back the other way. Charlie Curnow the target and battle. Catch, can't quite hold on. Farmed the handball up to Sard. Arches the back and kicks inside the 50 to Charlie with one hand.
1-1.
Catch, can't quite hold on. Farmed the handball up to Sard. Arches the back and kicks inside the 50 to Charlie with one hand.
1-1. See how tightly they adjudicate the the new rule in terms of respecting the umpires.
O'Brien swings it wide, and now Newman's inside the 50 from outside the arc. Curnow launches it from downtown and hits the left-hand goalpost. Got every bit of that, just not quite straight enough. McGovern through the centre, through Setterfield, and now out to Kennedy. Sard's hemmed in, flying through for the Blues inside the arc. Cripps goes to ground. Curnow had to brush off a teammate there as he fed the footy out to Chera. Left foot kick. Oh, that's a wonderful goal. To Jones. Third season at St Kilda. Spears the pass inside the 50.
Hayes,
and here the Saints across half forward. Billings kicks to the top of the square. Up high, Wiedering. Gee, he pulls in a wonderful mark. Twist here the Saints across half forward. Billings kicks to the top of the square. Up high, Wiedering. Gee, he pulls in a wonderful mark. Twist.
Saints are out.
And there's numbers here for St Kilda if it'll sit for Higgins, who slips the tackle. Oh, and then he got driven into the turf by Boyd, and McGovern's fallen off after being the 17th pick in the 2019 draft. From just inside the 50, hits it and hits it beautifully.
Very good finish.
Three-quarter time here at Icon Park. 15 points the spread. Carlton, after leading by 20 points at quarter time, by 6 at the half. They're up by 15 with a term to go in this second AFL practice match of season 2022. 8-12-60 to the Saints 6-9-45. Joel Peterson alongside former Docker and Son, current Werribee coach in the VFL, Mick Barlow. And Mick, well, the Saints fans would be hoping for a more consistent 2022. They haven't got it so far in this match. They haven't. Fell away there again in that third term.
And nor of the Blues. The Blues don't have the tendency over the past couple of years to be the most reliable team to follow. So fascinating watch this last quarter in terms of what teams do in terms of how they're chasing the game. How do Carlton protect this lead? And conversely, how does St Kilda chase the game when and if that time comes later into the quarter? So both teams will just go out to play and try and implement exactly what they've been implementing across the first three quarters with more effect. But the longer the quarter goes, we'll start to get a sight into what a team's doing in terms of chasing a game or saving a game as well.
Absolutely.
Fogarty has come on for the Blues. He's fresh into the middle with George Hewitt, Patrick Cripps, Pitney still going. So even though Murkov had a few little runs and jumps at it throughout that third quarter, Mark Pitney will take the first contest of this quarter with Jack Hayes mirroring him.
So Hayes getting a run out there, so too Leonard as trade-ons for the Saints. The Blues without a number of stars through injury to start their pre-season campaign off. Fogarty gets an early touch.
I forgot what team he was playing for.
Straight to Hunter Clark, who handballs the Saints inside the 50. McDonald dragged down. Clark goes back in for St Kilda. Handball to Membry, in on goal. Snaps around the body for the lightning start to the final term. Can't quite make it count. Again, we see a lot of the scoring being done to that legend stand end. It's been rather remarkable the way it's unfolded. Gee, Silvani dug the knee into the ground there as he dragged in the mark.
Great, man. It's just, again, Mitch McGovern just saw a one-on-one from the kick out. onto the wing was a leading Silvani, and just back your players in one-on-one. Kick it to their skill set, which is absolutely Jack Silvani's run and jump at the ball or lead at the ball.
Ball over the boundary line off the hands of Fisher. Started well, did Silvani, 2 goals in that opening term. Ball to be tossed back in. Pitane, handball to Nunes. Birthday boy to Cripps. Hewitt along the boundary line. Saints on the bench, one out of bounds on the full. Umpire agrees.
He's had a rough start to it, Lockie Fogarty. Just coughed the first one up in the middle as Dan Butler comes to the bench. Again with the rock in his shoe. A bit ginger, hopefully not too bad for Saints fans.
Ryan Burns goes up the line. Free kick in the marking contest going the way of King. Gresham wanted the overlap. Williams was awake to that. King pokes it forward to his skipper. The man of steel's got it at left half forward. Whacks it to full forward. Wood in front. Doesn't fly. Newman stayed down for the Blues. Setterfield keen to see it across for a rushed score. So the Saints open with a couple of behinds in this final term. Narrow the gap to 13. Couple of spots, of course, in that defence. Newman, he is that sort of prime mover, handling the kick-in duties for most of the day. Cripps just gets rid of Steele in the marking contest. Strong work.
Fair CV between the two of them. Patrick Cripps, Jack Steele, one-on-one contest. The ultimate competitor, Jack Steele, didn't like that. I reckon he'll want another crack at a one-on-one contest against the Carlton skipper.
Been opposed to each other throughout much of the day so far. Wood stands the mark. Now Cripps is called to go. Brother Josh playing in the VFL practice match for this after this game here at Icon Park is Patrick Cripps. He kicks up the line. Stepping through the traffic there nicely was Ross. Handball to Steele, who wheels around, looked for support, found it in Burns, and Ross has continued to run. Left foot kick, McDonald there all the way. Membry couldn't get there, and Higgins was maybe a little bit of a breakdown in communication, and Oscar picked it off nicely.
Just like the vanilla and the Neapolitan ice cream, Oscar McDonald, isn't he? He's just the plain operator, but he gets the job done from my point of view. If I get the pick of the 3, I'll take the vanilla. Here he is again. So I told you, just what happens in front of you, just commit to it. Oh, gee whiz, as I say that.
He's turned it over. The ice cream's melting in front of your eyes, I think, Nick.
And then he just calmly gets himself out of trouble. Well done, Oscar.
And he's also, so he's the vanilla in the sense that he's in the middle of everything at the moment as well, is Oscar McDonald.
I thought about that phrase as I put it together. Just before I said, I thought he's been good, he's been calm, he's been plain, he's been efficient. Then he mucked it up, but then he saved the day again.
That's always the way. He turned it, made it look pretty good in the end. Williams, a high ball inside forward 50, bounces off the shoulder of Curnow. Chasing it down was Durden, and it goes out for a throw in at right half forward for the Blues.
Both teams inaccurate in front of goal today. 8-12, 60 to 6-10, 46. So again, a little bit of rust, increased pressure around the ball than what they're used to at match simulations and trainings.
Fogarty, handball to Nunes from the stoppage. Fisher, who's been lively as he so often is. Williams slips over. Fisher slips over. They've given it up here, the Blues. Burns there for the Saints. Tries to put the step on Boyd. Couldn't quite. He got the handball away straight to Nunes, who waxed it out of bounds on the full. Tried to spear the pass along the boundary line and cleared the paint. Wilkie there for the Saints. Oh, he kicked it straight between two teammates, Clark and Crouch. Clark ended up with it. Handball to Crouch, caught by Chera. Just got it away, said the umpire. Fogarty got it from O'Brien to Boyd by hand. Back to the run of Lockie O'Brien. Goes inside the 50, made Silvani work. Lean it there to knock it away from him. Kennedy's handball for the Blues, straight to Clark. Silvani getting the back there of his opponent. Umpire said the tackle was okay, just inside the 50 for Carlton.
And that was Lockie O'Brien's bread and butter, the ability to follow up. He was really clean in open space. Just that last little piece of the puzzle, the forward 50 entry kick, just couldn't quite nail it, but he's really improved after a shaky start.
So the Saints pressing, trying to cut into this Carlton lead. Carlton with 5 goals in the opening term, the Saints with 4 in the second, the Blues with 3 in the third. doing the bulk of the scoring in each of those quarters to the Legend stand end. O'Brien has a go. He was dispossessed, caught holding the ball. Not for the first time today, unfortunately, for Lockie O'Brien.
Yes, that's the one, isn't it? He's only lightly built. You've got to find a way in the contest at this level. You've got to be able to find a way. You're a full-time athlete. The ability to put those focus areas in your game to work on a daily basis, get the bump bags around you, get coaches to tackle you under pressure, get your arms free and fight through those tackles.
Another game going on at the moment out at Casey Fields in these practice matches. Melbourne by 40 points over North at half-time. Plenty of football to come in the next couple of weeks in the build-up to the 2022 AFL season through the Community Series and these practice matches available on KO Sports. Nick Barlow and Joel Peterson here with you at Icon Park this morning. Halfback is McKenzie for the Saints, to Jones, to Wood into 2-on-1. Blues numbers win out. Chera. Oh, kick just evaded. Fisher. Almost the ball fake there. He faked the kick in the end, almost dropped it on the ground, got it to Newman. He's tackled and he's gone. Burns got him. And the Saints will take the advantage here through Higgins on the left boot. Awkwardly kicks to half forward and finds Gresham. Gresham's got Wood in the pocket, goes in that direction and finds him.
That was class, full of class, and Mason Wood has worked hard across the day, so we get an opportunity here to go back and make good of that really hard work. The Zach Fisher effort was something out of the Harlem Globetrotters. I think it's a competing brand with the Sherrin, but there is a ball out there that you can strap to yourself and it stays attached as you kick it. So he's done a little manoeuvre there, which was absolutely outstanding. Full benefit, but now it's gone back the other way to Mason Wood.
And Wood can't quite squeeze it home. So the margin back to 12. 8-12 plays 6-12, so that the kicking hasn't quite been there for either of these sides so far. Saints with 4 behinds here in this term. As McGovern spins it in his hands at full back. Been good in that new recast in the intercept role for the Blues this year. Finds Fogarty. They generate some runs. Saad to Newman. Got crunched. Just got away with it somehow. And then Saad turns the tackler. Newman did not see that coming.
Again, Nick Newman, that big layoff last year. He's put himself in a couple of situations today where he's been run down. And a bit worse for wear, as we see, as he trudges back. But he should be fine after dusting it off for a little while.
From the stoppage, he got absolutely mauled in the tackle. And they're going to do it all again in the centre of the grounds. Free kick off the footy here. Paid by the out-of-zone umpire.
And Hunter Clark just gives the umpire a little bit of a spray. No, 50 metres, so it has to be a little bit more defamatory than that,
Cripps
according to the new rule.
Saad goes inside the 50. Nicely roved by Silvani, stepped through the traffic, almost opened himself up on goal there. Setterfield to Curnow, hooks it back to full forward. Charging it down was O'Brien, lays the tackle on Lena, locks it up at the top of the square.
Really dumped into the numbers there, did O'Brien, but a good effort, a good contest as we watch the replay of the crunching tackle on Nick Newman, played by McKenzie.
Had a couple of big tackles late in games. Remember one against West Coast early in the season. Last year, Dan McKenzie inside the forward 50 kicked a match-winning goal.
I might be making this up, but somewhere along the line I've heard that McKenzie's nickname is Bull, and that might be why. But in the same breath, it might be completely false. His nickname's Bull.
Well, if true, it's a good story.
Yeah, I'll do
and
some
if true,
digging.
most are.
Yep, I'll do some digging. I just like to be open and honest and transparent because I could probably get away with it, being not true and saying it, but could go either way, that one.
Say a lot with conviction and make it sound okay. I like that, Mick. Barlow,
we're all working back into our craft.
Absolutely.
We're all working back into our craft in this season, February.
It's early for everyone.
Yep.
Not only today with this morning's start, but in the season in the context as well. O'Brien at the stoppage to Cripps, tries to spin himself free, gets through the traffic, handball to Silvani. Cripps tried to create something for Carlton. Silvani's snap hits the post, but Jack has been very busy today.
And if you're a young player at Carlton or a player in general that struggles in the contest and needs to understand how to get your arms free and avoid tackles and what work to do, Paddy Cripps has got the body to make that a real A-grade part of his game, but I'd just jump in his back pocket. What do you do? How do you train it?
Steele just got the handball away in the centre for the Saints. Campbell. To Crouch. Back to Stills. One thing that Cripps maybe, just over the last couple of years, he did look a bit tired and worn down and maybe didn't have that burst. He's had it in spades today. It's been really exciting to watch him go about his business in the middle. Membry's got it on the outer side for the Saints. To Sinclair in the outer of the centre circles. On the 45 to Clark. 2 kicks from home. Long left foot ball to the pocket. Woods in best position from the back. Hayes got hands to it. Long chases it into the pocket for the Saints. Chera met solidly by Campbell. Took the tackle on and not to his benefit. The fans in the Legend stand don't like it, but Tom Campbell wins a free kick for the Saints.
It's part of the game that absolutely has improved and become noticeably more efficient over the past couple of years is the tackling. And today we've seen it. There's rust with ball in hand and players not getting their arms free, but the ability to pin the arms and absolutely make the most of tackles is very evident across the last couple of seasons.
Kicked one in the second term, going off the ground. Higgins! The door opened for Jack Higgins and he waltzed right through. And he pulls the Saints back. And they've got a sniff here in this final term. And it just all opened up for Jack Higgins there.
It did. Opportunist player, opportunist goal. So front half or forward 50 tackle, efficient tackle. Kick it to the hot spot. Loved the entry kick. So he was right on the junction of 50 and the boundary line, and his ability to understand his limitations and not go for a long either point or out in the full and stretch his kicking distance. He just pulled it up and just 4-ironed it to the top of the square and gave them maximum opportunity. The bigs competed. Jack Hayes brought it to ground, and the other Jack Higgins kicks the goal. If they add Jack Hayes to the list, it just adds another Jack to the mix there at St Kilda at Moorabbin, and they've got a few of them.
Yeah, they do. They've got more Jacks than a playing card factory. It's just insane.
We need 2 decks, I think, to get all the Jacks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As long as they don't have any jokers, they'll be right. O'Brien inside the 50. Charlie's on the end of this.
Great entry. There's a joker at every footy club. And I tell you what, Charlie Curnow could be the joker in the pack or the ace in the pack. Absolutely for Carlton as we just try all these different annotations of describing players and how it's all unfolding today. But Charlie Curnow, he's got better as the day's gone on. Absolutely. He's kicked the goal, kicked the major. He had a missed opportunity here last quarter where, from exactly the same position where he tried to come out like he has there, can he make good on this one?
So
no.
Charlie with his another shot, and he's put that one out of bounds on the force. Been a bit of a mixed bag today for Charlie. Had one on the long range attempt to that end, a couple of set shots at the other end, and hasn't snagged one yet.
And again, that entry, Liam O'Brien, brilliant ball inside, Lockie O'Brien, sorry, brilliant ball inside forward 50. He's great in time and space, and I gave him a little bit of a clip in terms of his last entry, so hand in the air, that's a great entry next time to make good on the previous entry from Lockie O'Brien.
So Burns has got it for St Kilda on the outer side. He sets it up for Membry, allowed McGovern to come across, but Membry was strong in the air. He's been good today for the Saints. You know what you're going to get from Tim Membry. Hatton spins the ball in hand for St Kilda, looking to manufacture something going inside the 50. One kick game. Patton goes inside the arc. King the target along the boundary line was McDonald, who taps it across for a throw-in.
7 points. So again, as mentioned at 3/4 time, some players will probably get spat out the last 15 minutes of this game and rested, and it'll be interesting to see what both clubs do and how they set up in terms of either chasing the game, as the Saints are doing at the moment, or Carlton in terms of trying to save it and hold on to a lead.
Blues clear out of half-back. Kick bounces out toward Curnow. Umpire pays deliberate. And the Carlton fans in the Legend stand not happy with that. Their side leads by a kick. 15 minutes remaining here in this ball game. Sinclair chips it inside the 50, looking for Campbell. Blues across to spoil it away. And they'll get another opportunity inside the 50 here, the Saints. Been able to lock it in. Still only the 2 goals kicked to the Royal Parade end, which is rather remarkable. St Kilda in the opening term kicked 2 to that end, and we haven't seen one since. It's been all at this Legends Stand end where the majority of the crowd is this afternoon. Diving on the footy there, Campbell among it. See the odd red, white and black of St Kilda among the majority navy blue of Carlton this afternoon in the stands. Chera from the stoppage. Ball driven down the wing for Carlton. Curnow can't take it with him. Ross scoots away with the ball. Handball to Patton, the Saints away. Patton goes inside the 50. King shaping up to mark. Newman got 2 hands to it. Fisted it straight up and down the mine shaft. Steele. Now Long to Burns. Tumbles it to full forward. McGovern, great mark. A telling mark defensively for the Blues. Now what's he got? St Kilda have done a good job to lock it inside their front half here. Goes out toward the city side. Knocked away from Kennedy. Spilt to Sharman. Pokes it to Steele. The skipper steadies from 45. Eyes the sticks and levels things up.
Fair finish. Jack Steele hasn't been as prolific today, but still been involved to a very high level. A couple of really intoxicating one-on-one battles with Paddy Cripps across the day. Paddy's been absolutely outstanding, but Jack Steele, the ever reliable, pops up there and evens it all up. So often just pigeonholed with that negating role and maybe just a blue-collar operator. Shows a little bit of white-collar class there, does Jack Steele.
It's been a brilliant pickup. All-Australian, the captain, led the league in tackles last year. 14 contested possessions a game. Kicked 13 goals from his 22 games, having played every game for the Saints too. So he does hit the scoreboard a little bit. If he could add that to his game, he's already a weapon. What a weapon he'd be. Murkov in ruck for the Blues now. Has a second go at it. Tries to spike it forward back in his volleyball days, but it's all St Kilda. Clark, handball to McKenzie, turned over. Nunes forced the pressure. Now Cripps comes away with it. A couple of bounces as he shoots the handball to Kennedy. Durden's got it at right half forward for Carlton. Short lead from Fisher, eyes that off. Looks to the pocket. Presenting up at the ball was Kemp, and he can't find the handle. Change of boots here for Brodie Kemp in the last quarter. He's gone from the white and red to the all-black setup. Playing pretty well in the white and red. I thought he might have stuck with that.
Maybe blisters. You know, these AFL players nowadays, just a new pair of boots every week. So
wearing them in.
Maybe Brodie's just got a bit of irritation on the heels from the first half.
Mick Barlow with you here on KO Sports. Scores tied late in the piece here at Icon Park. Wood in defence for St Kilda. Can't take the mark. Wilkie's under pressure. Dragged to the turf. Umpire circles and says, line.
Gee whiz.
That looked like a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, they usually don't have great poker faces, the umpires, when they're about to give the holding the ball. But he bluffed us all there because he wrapped the arms to the chest and said, I'll throw it in the air.
So up we go. Campbell in defence for the Saints. Steele fights for the football. So does Hewitt. Ross a clearing kick. Gresham tries to chase it down. Saad there, 2 absolute live wires. So too is Fisher. Oh, wonderful vision. Left foot kick, swung across his body into the corridor, finds Chera. Couple of goals in that third term for the boom recruit from Freo. Kicks to full forward. Saints with numbers. Campbell brings it down. Sinclair throws a boot at it. Can't connect. Caught holding the ball. Terrific tackling pressure. And an opportunity for Carlton to put themselves ahead once more. And it's Matt Owies.
Like a cat on a hot tin roof.
And 50.
There's the example, I would imagine, of player getting quite aggrieved with decision, verbalising that aggrieved nature to umpire saying come with me to the goal line, and Owies just pops in the easiest of goals.
So Owies puts Carlton a kick to the good, and after the 50-metre penalty, the Saints pay full freight. And the pressure rewarded for the Blues.
Matty Owies, he's running off as if he's severely sore, carrying a little bit of cramp or a bit ginger as he points to the little pistons below his waist and saying they're a little bit tight and a little bit sore at the moment. So he was very fortunate he got the luxury of a march to the goal line because he was sore 30 metres out. Would have made the distance, but would have been a far harder task than right on the goal line. So umpires, first time they've, to my knowledge, today, given a 50-metre on the back of some aggression from player towards umpire.
There's a bit of a change this year. It's not AFL making a bit of a stand. It's not going to be tolerated. It certainly wasn't there. So the Blues in control, relatively speaking. Here's Sard out of the middle. Kicks to half forward. Kennedy's able to mark. Whips the handball out wide to Setterfield.
Dangerous kick.
Kicks to full forward. Silvani was up. He couldn't take it. Hayes swung into defence for the Saints. Tumbles it out toward the wing. Williamson made a beeline there for Sharman to try and provide the smother. Had to go back at the ball and knocked it out of play.
22 travelled. 6-point game. Way of the Blues. So St Kilda in front of the ball. Looking for their forwards just to pull a little bit deeper. Try and make it one-on-one. So a quick, hurried kick gives them an opportunity to score.
Ball tossed back in. Oh, Higgins dumped into the turf by Cripps. That'll be a free kick.
On the other end of the spectrum, Carlton are still happy to play 6-6-6. They haven't dropped a spare behind the ball to try and protect the lead just yet.
So Higgins, long high footy. King makes a run at it. McDonald did enough to knock it away. Kennedy at their feet. Newman's got time and space inside the back 50 and darts the kick to Williamson, who juggles it in.
Just with their ball movement now, little signs at the moment that they're happy to take a bit of juice out of the clock and try and protect the lead. There were a few options on the switch, but he's happy to go long down the line.
So Murkov is there. Steele being tackled by Chera and Murkov. Just dropped it on the boot, got the kick away. Lena chases it to the boundary. Free kick as Higgins was being held without the ball. So he rolls around onto the right boot, sends it inside the 50. Wiedering's across to knock it down for Carlton. Williamson, he's got plenty of time and space. They've slowed down to a crawl in terms of the forward pressure here, St Kilda. Hayes is still out there trying because he's trying to press his case for a spot on the list. Now Wilkie. He darts it to the 50 for Higgins, and Higgins points immediately toward goal.
And this would absolutely take his best effort, but I'd imagine he'd be looking similarly to the last entry from a similar range. It was just popped to the top of the goal square, so it's a little bit of a set play so often from this position.
So Blues by 7 points, having kicked 1 goal, 1 here in the term.
Just pops it. Higgins
tees it up, as you say. Mirko, big run at it for Wood, went through his hands. Wiedering's there. He's tackled by Membry. Saints want holding the ball, won't get it.
Gee whiz, Mason Wood had a really good look at that. And I think it caught, which it shouldn't have, caught the Carlton defenders napping. They were just assuming long shot at goal for Higgins. And Mason Wood just went through his mitts.
So 6 minutes left, 7-point game. Nunes bangs it on the boot. There's Saints everywhere. Sinclair, handball to Sharman. Tries to measure the pass inside the 50. McDonald thumps it back the other way. A decisive defensive punch. Out to Hewitt, tried to link up with his former Sydney teammate in Newman. And now to Nunes, back to Newman. Just fashions the kick somehow across the body out towards Silvani.
Just got to think their way through this, the Blues, because they had no numbers ahead of the ball and they rushed that.
Charlie Curnow was met solidly, and now a free kick to the Saints.
Silly that they just didn't need to rush. All the St Kilda numbers got behind the ball, so they just had to calm down and find an option laterally.
So Steele's got it right in the centre. 5 minutes remaining, 7-point Carlton lead. Hill out wide to King on the lead. Not paid. Williamson worried him out of it. Williamson just got the handball away too. And again, it's Carlton hemmed in this right back pocket, trying to get something going the other way.
Spoiled each other in the end.
Yeah, he and Patton, a little bit of miscommunication there, and the Blues are able to sort things out. Cripps.
Paddy Cripps just knew not to rush it and just bang it forward because his spare players had got caught up around the ball, so of which Adam Cherrill was one.
So Chera with the footy, called to move it on. Does so with a long kick inside the 50 towards Silvani. Wonderful floating mark in from Jack Hayes. One of the two train-ons out there. That was really well read. Back to Ross in the defensive goal square for the Saints. So a couple of the South Australians. Ross blasted out toward the wing. It's over the head of Patton and out for a throw-in.
So 26 gone. Carlton looking to hold a 7-point lead. So in terms of structurally, they're pretty content still to have the equal number of players ahead and behind the ball.
Chera might have been grabbed high there. Cripps came up with it.
But as I speak, Brody Kemp made the 150-metre dash from goal square to centre half back just to sit in the hole.
So free kick coming to Cripps here at the stoppage. Zach Fisher just works some time off the clock, so flat 30-minute quarters. And Cripps has got it between the wing and half forward. Blues with 1-1 here in this final term. The Saints have kicked 2 goals, 4. Big pack inside the forward 50. Lienitz there, he stepped across the line. Just underneath the Carlton players watching on, up on the balcony in the administration building. Tom Campbell nominates himself for ruck against Jack Silvani. Bradley Hill flying around the stoppage. Keen to get on the move. Fisher. Handball to Hewitt to Setterfield, up and down the mine shaft. Campbell has another go in ruck essentially, and it was against Silvani. Fisher along the boundary line. Hewitt hooks it inside the forward 50. That's not going to work out. Another good mark taken by Battle.
Intercept by Battle, whose direct opponent is sitting 150 metres up the other end. So whether Battle can just get up the other end and equalise that to give even numbers, we'll wait and see.
Aggressive kick up the corridor. Cripps got caught with the footy according to the umpire and play on into the running machine in Brad Hill. He's going to spread it wide. Ross marks in stride. That was like quarterback to wide receiver. Dropped it into the bucket and Seb Ross was able to go. He wheels inside the forward 50. Hayes up in the pack. It's brought down at the back by Joyce, who's been swung forward late for the Saints. Kennedy for the Blues. Steadies with a handball out wide, but can't find a teammate on the end of it. It'll be tossed back in.
So again, so important for the players to understand the situation. Now Josh Battle is charging into his forward 50 to equalise that number to make sure that the Blues don't just have a +1 or +2 to mop up any rush kicks inside forward 50.
Charlie Curno's morning's work done, receiving some treatment on the bench. At the stoppage, Campbell squeezes it inside the arc for the Saints. Oh, big physical hit in there from Long.
Jumped on that, squirted it out.
Fisher's in there, Croucher's in there, Clark's in there for the Saints. He's tackled by Boyd and Kennedy. And it's all locked up inside the 50 for the Saints. Minute to go, Carlton by 7 points. What can the Saints manufacture? Clark at the stoppage, throws it on the boot, spirals it toward goal, minor score. In fact, it's gone out of bounds on the full. It didn't quite squeeze in.
Any chance, and again, the result isn't the end of the work, isn't the be-all and end-all, but any chance you'd imagine just to scrub through for a point and a hope to turn over a kick in.
Needed Jack Higgins to go for the 7-point play again,
yes, Nick. He's played it once really well today.
Oh, the runway cleared for Kennedy there, who's going to mark at half back and can just about ice the clock here for the Blues. Chamberlain calls him to move it on quickly. Kennedy whacks it up the City wing. Durden was there, handball to Fisher. Scrubs a kick along the boundary line, taken by Wilkie of the Saints. Campbell, by hand to Patton, and now to Sinclair. Aggressive kick up the middle, Long's up to meet it. But it's a winning start for Michael Voss as Carlton coach in this practice match campaign of season 2022. A tight tussle. It was inconsistent from both sides at times. And it's Carlton who prevails to kick their 2022 campaign off by 7 points over the Saints, 9-13-67 to 8-12-60. You wouldn't say either side set the world on fire, Nick Barlow, but there was plenty of positives there for both.
Yeah, there were plenty of positives, absolutely. Their best footy today, both sides, showed incredible talent, poise, explosiveness, all the describing words that come with a very successful AFL team. But on the contrary, there were some patches, some big patches from both clubs that would have them reviewing and understanding, okay, how could have we done that better? How could have we competed for longer? St Kilda first quarter, Carlton second quarter, just faded out of the game in terms of their appetite for the contest. But all in all, I think quite a productive day, not a huge amount to report injury-wise.
Which is a positive for both, coming off the years they've had.
Exactly. So their best complement of players. There were some big hits and some big moments where hearts were in mouths around some key personnel. Max King went up and hit the deck pretty heavily at one stage. Mitch McGovern similarly up the other end. So both come through unscathed and would be very, very appreciative of the hit-out and take that into next week and then the season after that would.
You can see the VFL Saints about to go through their paces, so too the VFL Blues. So Jack Silvani finished with 2 goals, so too did Adam Chera in his first game in Navy Blue. Matt Kennedy, Brodie Kemp, Corey Durden and Matt Owies had 2 goals as well. For the Saints, 2 goals to Jack Higgins, their lone multiple goal kicker on the day. Campbell, Wood, Membry, Butler, King and Jack Steele with goals for St Kilda. A couple of the notables from the game, Adam Chera's performance, Mick?
Yeah, it was good, especially the first half. He was really noticeable in terms of his impact around the contest. What I really liked about his game is he will complement Patrick Cripps as well as anyone that could complement Patrick Cripps. Got good footy nousters, Adam Chera. Anytime the ball did hit the ground or spill out towards Paddy Cripps, Adam Chera knew to get over towards his chest and make it a really simple option for him, because Paddy Cripps, that's his one, would get the ball and then just find the feed off to a player in time and space, or a player like Adam Chera that can take it, use his skill set of speed and run and break some lines and use his skill on the outside.
And the Saints, we saw a couple of positional switches. Josh Battle going down back was pretty solid for them. Bradley Hill at halfback as well. What did you take from some of their changes? Similar
story with Josh Battle, the one-on-one matchup with Curnow across the day. The points were probably shared. Half one goes the way of Battle, who won some really significant one-on-one battles, pardon the pun, but genuinely intended. And then the second half, Curnow, having missed so much footy, got himself back into the game and showed just his athletic prowess and his ability to get the ball out the back and own the space where the ball's going to drop and make the most of some situations that he was given with fast ball movement on entry into their forward 50. In particular, guys like Lockie O'Brien started to open up in time and space and use the ball, which then really complemented the way they played in front of the ball with Charlie Curnow on the lead.
So Carlton are back in action. They've got their first community series game against Melbourne next Thursday. The Saints play Essendon on Saturday in at Marvel Stadium. The first month for the Saints, Collingwood, Freo, Richmond and Hawthorn. For the Blues, it's Richmond, the Western Bulldogs, Hawthorn and the Gold Coast to open the season. And both sides, I think Michael Voss would have experienced the highs and lows of coaching today. A brilliant start for the Blues, and then the long periods where they lost the ascendancy. It's but a welcome return for him in a winning way.
And only that can happen in these games, the pre-season games, the precursor games to the season. It's not a punishment, I don't think, but the St Kilda side is running a lap. running a lap with quite velocity as well. So they may not have hit their meterage in terms of hitting their distance required. So they are doing a lap to top up their volume in terms of what they may have missed with having extra rotations and players out there playing extra decreased minutes, I should say.
See them just disappearing on the right-hand side of your screen. There's a couple of Saints down on the bench in front of us as we see them behind the goals there. Max King having a chat to Harry Mackay down beneath us as the Saints go through their paces. So it's Carlton who win by 7 points. 9 goals, 13-67 to the Saints, 8-12-60. Your Werribee side's got a practice match against the Blues VFL side tomorrow. Mick, you'll be back here.
We do, yeah. So, Carlton reserves are about to play here, but we'll be looking to play those guys that aren't selected out of their VFL squad tomorrow. It's essentially a glorified match simulation session with our season kicking off a week after the AFL season. So exciting times ahead for all levels of football.
Go well, mate. Good to be with you this
Thanks, Joel,
morning.
And I'm sure we'll cross paths as the season progresses.
Absolutely. Michael Barlow, the former Docker and Son, with you on KO Sports. The Blues make a winning start to their 2022 pre-season campaign by 7 points over the Saints, 9-13-67 to 8-12-60. That's all from us here at Icon Park. Thanks for your company on KO Sports.